Chapter 1786. Wei Clan, one of the four great clans of Aeon City, had stood tall in Aeon City for millions of years. They controlled a large amount of resources and power in Aeon City and established the famous Giant Spirit Commerce Alliance. You're finally back. I was worried to death. Wei Xinyue's group had just returned to the Wei clan when the current Wei clan head, a 5-star Tao god, Wei Zhonghai, immediately walked out from the inner hall. Seeing his unharmed and beautiful daughter, he couldn't help but inwardly sigh in relief. Father! Wei Xinyue moved her slender legs and threw herself into Wei Zhonghai's embrace. Her eyes couldn't help but turn red. This must be young Master Yi who saved you. Wei Zhonghai gently stroked Wei Xinyue's soft black hair and cast his gaze towards Yi Chunfeng, who was standing at the entrance. He secretly sized him up a few times and said, If it wasn't for young Master Yi, I might not have been able to come back." Wei Xinyue nodded and said, she didn't expect that she would encounter an assassination during an outing. If she wasn't lucky enough to meet Yi Chunfeng, she might never have been able to come back. "Young Master Yi, thank you for saving you. I don't know what you want, but as long as my Wei clan can take it out, we will definitely give it to you." Wei Zhonghai found that he couldn't see through Yi Chunfeng. After pondering for a moment, he generously said, "There's no need for thanks, but I want to ask Wei clan head about some things." Yi Chunfeng had many ancestral artifacts, ancestral pills, and a large number of divine items. Ordinary things were enough to pique his interest. He just wanted to understand the Void God world through the Wei clan. "Alright, let's talk in the main hall. As long as I know, I will definitely tell young master." Hearing that Yi Chunfeng didn't want anything, Wei Zhonghai revealed a trace of astonishment. However, he quickly recovered and brought Yi Chunfeng to the main hall that was filled with an antique and faint sandalwood fragrance. "Young Master Yi, may I know where you're from? What do you want to know?" Although Yi Chunfeng's aura wasn't strong, he just sat in his chair in silence, giving people a natural feeling. Moreover, the Wei clan was one of the four great clans of Aeon City. Yet, Yi Chunfeng didn't show any restraint in the Wei clan. This caused Wei Zhonghai to look at him in a higher light. "I'm just an itinerant cultivator with no fixed abode," Yi Chunfeng vaguely said, "and I want to ask Patriarch Wei about what major events have happened in the Void God realm recently, as well as the method to go to the Dragon realm." The reason why Yi Chunfeng wanted to go to the Dragon world was because of Long Xiaotian. He had been suppressed in the universe realm for millions of years, so he really wanted to go home and see if the heavenly dragon race had been affected by the internal strife of the Dragon clan. Furthermore, Yi Chunfeng also wanted to contact the heavenly dragon race through Long Xiaotian and think of a way to befriend them. "The Dragon world has been sealed. No one can enter the Dragon world." Wei Zhonghai looked at Yi Chunfeng with some astonishment and slowly said, "Could it be that the internal strife of the Dragon clan has not subsided?" Yi Chunfeng slightly frowned and said, "It shouldn't be. If the internal strife of the Dragon clan had subsided, the Dragon world would have been opened long ago." Wei Zhonghai shook his head and said, "Then, Patriarch Wei, do you know the inside story of the internal strife of the Dragon clan?" Yi Chunfeng took a sip of the sky spirit tea that was filled with dense spiritual energy and continued to ask, "Young Master Yi thinks too highly of me. The Dragon clan is an overlord-level force in the Void God realm. I simply can't come into contact with them." Wei Zhonghai said, "Then, Patriarch Wei, do you have a way to send me to the place closest to the Dragon world?" Although the Dragon world had sealed itself, Yi Chunfeng had the Space Devourer bug, so he still had a way to enter. If it was 3 years ago, I would have been able to send young Master Yi to the vicinity of the Dragon world through the wormhole. However, I can't do it now. Now, all the wormholes of the various races in the Void God realm have been sealed." Wei Zhonghai softly sighed and said, "Why is that?" Yi Chunfeng was somewhat surprised. Could it be that young Master Yi has not heard about the matter of the massacre ancient tomb appearing in the Void God realm? Wei Zhonghai asked in astonishment. He was astonished that Yi Chunfeng did not know about this matter that shocked the entire Void God realm. I have been in seclusion for the past few years, and have just come out. I have not heard about the matter of the massacre ancient tomb. Yi Chunfeng vaguely explained. So that's how it is. Wei Zhonghai nodded and said, 3 years ago, one of the 3 great ancient tombs of the heaven region, the massacre ancient tomb, suddenly appeared in the Void God realm. It alarmed the various races in the Void God realm and attracted the experts of various races. They wanted to enter and seize the incomparable opportunity within the massacre ancient tomb. However, the massacre ancient tomb was too dangerous. Although the various races worked together to break the restrictions of the massacre ancient tomb, none of the experts who entered the massacre ancient tomb were lucky enough to escape. All of them died inside, including several Almighty Ancestor Realm experts. The more dangerous the massacre ancient tomb was, the more it aroused the desire of various races to seize the great opportunity within. Just as the Almighty Ancestor Realm experts of various races were about to take action, the massacre ancient tomb strangely shifted its position. In order to suppress the massacre ancient tomb and prevent it from moving, the Almighty Ancestor Realm experts of various races borrowed Void God artifacts to suppress a region. In the end, through the efforts of the Almighty Ancestor Realm experts of various races, the massacre ancient tomb was suppressed. However, the spatial wormholes of the entire Void God realm were also affected and became extremely unstable. In order to avoid any accidents, the various races gave the order to seal all the spatial wormholes until the various races obtained the incomparable opportunity within the massacre ancient tomb. I never expected the massacre ancient tomb to appear in the Void God realm. I wonder if the desolate ancient tomb will also appear in the Void God realm. Legend had it that there were 3 great ancient tombs in the heaven region. They were the desolate ancient tomb, the massacre ancient tomb, and the Void ancient tomb. Now that the opportunity within the Void ancient tomb had been obtained by Yi Chunfeng, the massacre ancient tomb had appeared in the Void God realm. However, the most mysterious desolate ancient tomb had yet to appear. However, the appearance of the massacre ancient tomb in the Void God realm made Yi Chunfeng suspect that after the passage of time, the desolate ancient tomb might also be hidden in the Void God realm. While they were talking, housekeeper Su walked in with a tray made of white jade. When he opened the restriction white silk on the tray, it revealed a dark green ancient seal with a toad sitting on top of it. Its surface was engraved with a large amount of ancient veined patterns. It was a low-grade transcendent sacred artifact ancient seal. This ancient toad seal was obtained by my Wei clan from an auction 10 years ago. I will give it to young master as a token of gratitude. Wei Zhonghai pointed at the dark green ancient toad seal and said, Wei clan head is too polite. However, there is really no need for a token of gratitude. A low-grade transcendent sacred artifact was already useless to Yi Chunfeng. He shook his head and said, If Wei clan head really wants to thank me, then wait for the spatial wormhole to open and send me to the edge of the dragon world. Young master, could it be that you have a relationship with the dragon race? Wei Zhonghai noticed that when Yi Chunfeng looked at the ancient toad seal, his gaze was calm without a trace of fluctuation. He guessed that this kind of treasure could not enter his eyes and could not help but look at him in a higher light. We have a lot of history. Yi Chunfeng nodded and said vaguely. Wei Zhonghai saw that Yi Chunfeng was not interested in the ancient toad seal, so he did not insist and promised, Good. I believe that the peak ancestor realm masters of the various races should be able to reach the deepest part of the ancient massacre tomb soon and seize the peerless opportunities inside. When the spatial wormhole opens, I will inform young master as soon as possible. Many thanks. Young Master Yi, since you have just arrived at Aeon City, why don't you stay in my Wei clan? Wei Zhonghai increasingly felt that Yi Chunfeng was not ordinary and enthusiastically invited him. Wei clan head is too polite, but I still want to stay outside. Yi Chunfeng did not want to have too much to do with the Wei clan and tactfully refused. Just as Yi Chunfeng was about to bid farewell to Wei Zhonghai and the others and leave, savage roars resounded in the Wei clan's rear hall, causing the air to tremble. Demonic Qi. Chapter 1787. Father, is the demonic energy in grandfather's body getting stronger? Wei Xinyue asked nervously when she heard the roar from the back hall. Yes, the demonic energy in your grandfather's body is getting stronger. Wei Zhonghai looked deeply at Yi Chunfeng and nodded. Then what should we do? Grandfather won't be in danger, right? Wei Xinyue asked worriedly. Sigh. Wei Zhonghai didn't know Yi Chunfeng well, so he sighed softly and didn't say anything. It seems like your Wei clan is in a bad situation. Xinyue was assassinated for no reason, and it should be directed at your Wei clan. Yi Chunfeng guessed the Wei clan situation from Wei Zhonghai's expression. He pondered for a moment and said, "But perhaps I can help you." Really? Wei Xinyue's beautiful big eyes widened, revealing a pleasantly surprised expression. If you trust me, I can try to remove the demonic energy in grandfather's body. Although Yi Chunfeng didn't want to have too much to do with the Wei clan was still valuable to him. He didn't want anything to happen to the Wei clan. Of course I trust you. Quickly take a look at grandfather. Because Yi Chunfeng had saved Wei Xinyue's life, Wei Xinyue believed in him without a doubt. I wonder if clan head Wei is willing to let me treat the old master? Yi Chunfeng asked indifferently as he looked at Wei Zhonghai, who was deep in thought and hesitating. Sigh, then I'll leave it all to young Master Yi. Wei Zhonghai looked deeply at Yi Chunfeng and saw his clear eyes. He gritted his teeth and decided to take the risk and let Yi Chunfeng try. Then let's go. After saying that, Yi Chunfeng followed Wei Zhonghai, Wei Xinyue, and the others to the Wei residence's back hall. Inside an ancient courtyard shrouded in powerful restrictions, waves of devil qi permeated through the restrictions, dyeing the air black. Patriarch Wei, if you trust me, let me go in and treat him myself. Yi Chunfeng didn't want to expose his secret to Wei Zhonghai and the others, so he said slowly. This, Wei family head, you don't have to worry too much. If I really wanted to scheme against your Wei family, I wouldn't have done it in front of everyone. The only reason I'm helping you is because of the wormhole. Yi Chunfeng placed his hands behind his back, and his handsome face revealed an untamed expression. Thank you, we'll wait for you outside. Although Yi Chunfeng's tone was a little arrogant, when Wei Zhonghai heard it, the worry in his heart was greatly reduced. Thinking that his father would not be able to hold on for much longer, the only thing he could do now was to take a gamble. Patriarch, do you really believe him? Looking at Yi Chunfeng's back as he walked into the restriction alone, everyone in the Wei clan was a little worried. If something happened to the Wei clan's mainstay, it would be a fatal blow to the Wei clan. Sigh, we have no choice but to gamble. Wei Zhonghai sighed softly and said helplessly. Don't worry, father, I believe he's a good person. Wei Xinyue clenched her fists and bit her lip. Walking into the main room of the Wei clan's old patriarch, Wei Shitong, Yi Chunfeng found that the demonic qi in the room was very dense. A shriveled old man with glaring eyes was tied to a jade bed by a chain covered with ancient runes. Seeing Yi Chunfeng walk in, the Wei clan's old patriarch, Wei Shitong, roared again. His ferocious appearance made people shudder. What's in his body? Why is the demonic qi so dense? Yi Chunfeng ignored the demonic qi emitted from Wei Shitong's body and slowly walked to his side. He closed his eyes and controlled the God-Eater brain to quickly deduce, releasing a powerful soul force into Wei Shitong's body to examine it. What is this? When the powerful soul force penetrated deep into Wei Shitong's body, it found a large number of barely detectable black spots in his bone marrow. The demonic qi in Wei Shitong's body was emitted by these black spots. Demonic goo, Is this the legendary demonic goo? Under the God-Eater brain's rapid deduction, the black spots in Yi Chunfeng's soul sea appeared. These black spots were the demonic goo that could devour life force. There's something in his soul. In addition to the demonic goo, Yi Chunfeng also felt an extremely thin black line in Wei Shidong's soul. This black line was also a type of demonic goo that was used to devour the brain's consciousness. It seems that someone really wants to deal with the Wei clan. They actually used so many precious demonic goo to kill the old patriarch of the Wei clan. Yi Chunfeng muttered to himself. Wei Shidong's physical condition was not optimistic. If he was not treated, there would be no cure. Fortunately, Yi Chunfeng had the Chaos Divine Wood and the God-Eater Brain, which could restrain the demonic goo. Chaos Divine Wood, devour! After sealing Wei Shidong's old house, Yi Chunfeng summoned the Chaos Divine Wood and controlled it to extend a large number of 5-colored root. They drilled into Wei Shidong's body through his pores and devoured the demonic goo that had penetrated deep into his bone marrow. While the Chaos Divine Wood was devouring the demonic goo, Yi Chunfeng pressed on Wei Shidong's head and used the God-Eater Brain to devour the demonic goo in Wei Shidong's soul sea. When Yi Chunfeng dispelled the demonic goo in Wei Shidong's body and soul, he was immediately met with the demonic goo's resistance, causing the weakened Wei Shidong to writhe in pain. Grandpa seems to be in great pain. Hearing the wails from the courtyard, Wei Xinyue's expression changed slightly, revealing a nervous expression. Zhonghai, we don't know where this person came from. We can't let him continue the treatment. Wei Zhonghai's third uncle, Wei Shiming, said worriedly. He was about to rush in to stop Yi Chunfeng from treating Wei Shidong. No, third uncle. Wei Zhonghai suddenly stood in front of Wei Shiming and said, he was right. If he really wanted to harm father, he wouldn't do it in front of so many people. I think he is really treating father. Let's continue to wait. But, no buts. If there is an accident, I will bear all the responsibility. Wei Zhonghai took a deep breath and took all the responsibility. Time passed by slowly. Wei Shidong's wails grew louder and louder, causing the entire Wei clan to fall into a state of anxiety. If Wei Zhonghai didn't insist on waiting, the Wei clan would have rushed in and chased Yi Chunfeng away. After more than 6 hours of suffering, Wei Shidong's wails gradually became softer, and the demonic qi in the courtyard became much fainter. The demonic qi has weakened. Could it be that he really has a way to treat Patriarch? Feeling the demonic qi in the courtyard becoming fainter, the Wei clan, who were anxiously waiting, revealed a look of pleasant surprise. A trace of hope appeared in their despairing hearts. After more than 2 hours, Wei Shidong's wails completely disappeared. Patriarch Wei, please come in. At this time, Yi Chunfeng's voice sounded in the ancient courtyard and into Yi Chunfeng's ears. Young Master Yi, how is my father's condition? Wei Zhonghai quickly walked into the ancient house and looked at Yi Chunfeng, who was calmly standing by the bed, and Wei Shidong, who had fallen into a deep sleep and whose complexion had returned to normal. He asked nervously. The demonic goo in the old patriarch's body has been removed by me. However, the old patriarch has been tortured by the demonic goo for too long. I estimate that he will need to rest for several months to recover. Yi Chunfeng said faintly. Really? Wei Zhonghai was overjoyed. He immediately stepped forward and grabbed Wei Shidong's skinny wrist. He released a powerful soul force into his body and carefully checked to make sure that the demonic qi in his body had really disappeared. My Wei clan will never forget young Master Ye's kindness. Wei Zhonghai bowed deeply to Yi Chunfeng. Yi Chunfeng's actions had undoubtedly pulled his Wei clan out of the fire. As long as Wei Shidong recovered, those who secretly wanted to deal with the Wei clan would have to think twice. Patriarch Wei, how much do you know about the demonic goo? Seeing Wei Zhonghai's agitated appearance, Yi Chunfeng said faintly. I've heard of it, but I don't know much. Wei Zhonghai said truthfully. The demonic goo is very scary. It can nibble away at one's vitality and consciousness bit by bit. However, it is not easy to make the demonic goo host. Only a close relative can do it, Yi Chunfeng said slowly. Young Master Yi means that my Wei clan has a mole. Wei Zhonghai's expression changed slightly. This is your Wei clan's matter. It has nothing to do with me. Yi Chunfeng smiled and said, All right, I'm tired. I'm going back to rest. If the wormhole can be used again, remember to inform me. Chapter 1788. Aeon City. I guess I'll have to stay here for a while. The Void God realm was too vast, and there were too many unknown dangers. To be safe, Yi Chunfeng decided to stay in Aeon City for a while and wait for the wormhole to open so he could go to the Dragon World. In order to avoid being disturbed while cultivating, Yi Chunfeng directly spent a high price to buy a quiet ancient courtyard in Aeon City. He also spent over 1,000 array stones to lay down a defensive array in the courtyard, as if someone was disturbing him. After resting for a night, Yi Chunfeng left the ancient courtyard early in the morning. After asking around, he arrived at a large pagoda in Aeon City. There was a crescent moon embedded at the top of the pagoda and a powerful restriction around it. So lively! Walking into the ancient pavilion, Yi Chunfeng found that the first floor was very lively. Many powerful experts were picking out suitable antiques for themselves. The Void God Realm is indeed the Void God Realm. Emperor-level experts that are rarely seen in the Heaven region can be found everywhere here. There are even many master-level experts. Yi Chunfeng glanced at the experts in the hall and did not stop. He walked up the wooden stairs to the side, wanting to go to the second floor. Sir, please show your star token. Only honored guests with 2 stars and above can enter the second floor of my ancient heaven pavilion. At this moment, a guard wearing dark golden armor stopped Yi Chunfeng and spoke in a deep voice. He was guarding the wooden staircase and was stopping Yi Chunfeng. Star token? Yi Chunfeng slightly frowned. He took out the Wei clan's ancient token that Wei Zhonghai gave him before he left and said, Can I go to the second floor of the ancient heaven pavilion with this token? Wei clan's ancient token. Looking at the ancient token in Yi Chunfeng's hand with the word Wei carved on it, the armored guard immediately revealed a respectful expression and said, Young master, please go to the second floor. Yi Chunfeng didn't expect the Wei clan's ancient medallion to be so useful. He nodded his head and followed the wooden stairs to the second floor of the ancient tower. Accompanied by a young and beautiful maidservant, he went to the treasure vault to pick out some antique. As Yi Chunfeng's strength increased, his horizons also became wider. He walked around the second floor of the treasure pavilion and didn't find any antiques that caught his eye. Then, he went to the third floor to choose an antique. Entering the third floor of the ancient heaven tower, Yi Chunfeng saw only a few people choosing antiques. Among them, there was a woman wearing a tight-fitting backless dress that vividly accentuated the curves of her body. Her face was covered with heavy makeup, and her eyes were filled with charm. He couldn't help but take another look at her. But soon, Yi Chunfeng's attention was attracted by an ancient clock carved with strange patterns on the shelf. Through the God-Eater brain's repeated confirmations, he felt that the runes on the surface of the ancient bell had been carved with a special soul-drawing technique. If he shattered the ancient bell, these runes would become pure soul energy that the God-Eater brain could directly devour and accelerate its evolution. This ancient bell is not bad. I wonder how many saint crystals it can sell for. Although Yi Chunfeng had just arrived in the Void God realm, Shun Daxu had killed the 4 demon ancestors. In addition, he had killed the people of the Imperial Sky Clan, so he had a large amount of saint crystals on him. If young lord wants it, you only need to pay 1 million low-rank saint crystals. A young and beautiful maid with fair skin wearing a jade-green dress said softly. Ancient bell, let me have a look. The charming woman who was choosing antiques saw the ancient bell in Yi Chunfeng's hands from afar. She was immediately attracted by the ancient runes on the surface of the ancient bell. Her eyes lit up as she slowly walked over and said arrogantly, "I'll buy this ancient bell." Yi Chunfeng coldly glanced at her and was about to pay 1,000,000 low-rank Saint crystals to buy the ancient bell. "Didn't you hear what I said? I told you to let me have a look at this ancient bell." The charming woman didn't expect Yi Chunfeng to ignore her. Her face sank as she said angrily, "What are you standing there for? Hurry up and take the money." Yi Chunfeng handed a universe ring with 1,000,000 low-rank Saint crystals to the girl in green, who was in a dilemma. "You're not allowed to take his money. I'll buy this ancient bell." The charming woman angrily glared at Yi Chunfeng and ordered in an irresistible manner, "I'm not selling." Yi Chunfeng forcefully stuffed the universe ring into the green-dressed woman's soft and smooth hands. Under the enraged gaze of the charming woman, he took away the ancient bell. "Stop!" The charming woman didn't expect Yi Chunfeng to not give her any face. Flames of anger ignited in her heart as she quickly blocked in front of Yi Chunfeng and shouted loudly, "You dare to snatch something this young lady wants? You must be tired of living. Are you provoking me?" Yi Chunfeng's pupils shrank as killing intent suddenly erupted from his body. At this moment, he was like a wolf that had been lying in wait for a long time, revealing his sharp fangs and killing intent. Do you know who I am?" Feeling Yi Chunfeng's killing intent, the charming woman's heart trembled as a strong sense of fear rose within her, causing her voice to tremble slightly. "I don't want to kill anyone today, I hope you don't force me," Yi Chunfeng coldly warned before pushing aside the charming woman in front of him and leaving calmly. "Just you wait, I won't let you off." The charming woman had never suffered such a great humiliation before. Staring at Yi Chunfeng's departing back, she gnashed her teeth in hatred and spat. Although Yi Chunfeng felt that the charming woman's identity was extraordinary, he didn't take it to heart. With his current strength and heritage, he could easily sweep through Aeon City, so he didn't put the charming woman's family in his eyes. After leaving the ancient Heaven Pavilion, Yi Chunfeng continued to wander around Aeon City. However, Aeon City was simply too big. After walking around for half a day, he had only explored 1/10 of the eastern part of the city and didn't have any special harvest. As the sky gradually darkened, Yi Chunfeng was preparing to return to the ancient courtyard he had purchased to refine the ancient bell and release his soul force. However, more than 10 aggressive men blocked him on a remote street. "It's you!" Seeing the charming woman who had a conflict with him in the morning standing in the crowd and looking at him with malicious intent, Yi Chunfeng's face sank as he coldly said, "Do you really think I don't dare to kill you? Motherf *Ker, do you think you can threaten my Bei family's princess? If you know what's good for you, kneel down and beg for mercy. Maybe Miss Bei will spare your life if she's in a good mood." A burly man with thick hair all over his body warned fiercely. He had a scorpion tattoo on the left side of his face, and his eyes that were sunken into his cheeks emitted a strong sense of fierceness. "Puh!" As soon as his voice fell, the crisp sound of a slap suddenly rang out. Yi Chunfeng swung his palm across the air and fiercely slapped the burly man's cheek, shattering his cheekbones and sending him flying. He crashed heavily into a distant brick wall, causing a large part of it to collapse. "You're courting death." The Bei family's experts didn't expect Yi Chunfeng to be so arrogant and directly hit someone. They were immediately enraged as they summoned their treasures and attacked Yi Chunfeng. But when they attacked, they suddenly felt their vision blur. In the next moment, a force beyond their imagination fiercely bombarded their bodies, breaking through their physical defenses and sending them flying. They spat out a large amount of blood in midair and flew into the distance. Their vision turned black and they all fainted. "You don't come over." Seeing the helpers she brought being dealt with by Yi Chunfeng in the blink of an eye, the charming woman was so frightened that her beautiful face turned pale. She watched as Yi Chunfeng walked over step by step and retreated while speaking in horror. "Puh!" Yi Chunfeng didn't show any mercy. He raised his hand and ruthlessly slapped the charming woman's cheek, causing the pretty face that she was so proud of to swell. Immediately after, Yi Chunfeng backhanded and ruthlessly slapped her cheek again. A large amount of blood flowed uncontrollably from the corner of her mouth. Remember, don't provoke me again, or I'll break your neck. Chapter 1789. In the dead of the night, only the chirping of insects could be heard. Break. After refining until late at night, Yi Chunfeng used the wheel of life and death to grind the ancient clock. A large number of ancient soul runes floated in the air like will-o-wisps. God-eater brain, devour. Looking at the thousands of ancient soul runes floating in front of him, Yi Chunfeng immediately summoned the God-eater brain. It floated in the air and released a powerful devouring power, devouring the ancient soul runes one by one. After devouring thousands of ancient soul runes, the God-eater brain immediately split out a large number of brain cells, accelerating its evolution. However, as the God-eater brain grew stronger, it needed more energy to evolve into a subbrain. The ancient clock's soul runes were not enough for it to evolve. After retrieving the God-eater brain back into his soul sea, Yi Chunfeng consumed a supreme-grade heaven-piercing saint elixir and began to cultivate. He slowly increased his strength and tried to break through to the six-star Tao God realm. On the third day of his secluded cultivation, Wei Xinyue, who was wearing a tight black miniskirt, revealing her snow-white slender legs, and wearing a huge gem around her neck, arrived outside the old courtyard he rented. She was extremely beautiful. "How is your grandfather?" Sensing Wei Xinyue's arrival, Yi Chunfeng woke up from his cultivation. He closed the restriction in the courtyard and welcomed her in. "Thank you for saving my grandfather, young Master Yi. My grandfather is fine now." Wei Xinyue blinked her big eyes and looked at Yi Chunfeng. She said gratefully, "Young Master Yi, do you have time tonight? My grandfather would like to invite you to his residence to thank you personally for saving his life." "I accept your grandfather's kindness, but I still have to cultivate, so I won't be going." Yi Chunfeng shook his head and rejected her tactfully. "Well, all right then." Wei Xinyue wanted to continue persuading him, but looking at Yi Chunfeng's determined eyes, she knew that forcing it would only make Yi Chunfeng feel disgusted. "Young Master Yi, in a few days, my Wei clan is going to hold a private trade fair. Are you interested in joining?" Private trade fair. Yi Chunfeng's eyes lit up. He was a little interested. "All right, tell me the time and place of the trade fair. I'll go take a look." "This is the invitation card." Wei Xinyue handed a delicate invitation card to Yi Chunfeng and said, "We will be at the trade fair, waiting for young master's arrival." After she finished speaking, she didn't stay in the courtyard for long and turned around to leave. "Let's hope we can gain something from this private trade fair." Yi Chunfeng kept the invitation into the universe realm and returned to his room. He continued to refine the top-grade transcendent Holy Dan to increase his strength. Time flew by and soon 5 days had passed. When evening approached, Yi Chunfeng left the ancient courtyard and followed the route on the invitation card to the Wei clan's private trade fair. The Wei clan really knows how to choose a place. Yi Chunfeng looked at the luxurious and beautiful trading venue at the center of the lake, which was illuminated by a large number of lights. He took out his invitation card and handed it to the Wei clan guard guarding the only wooden bridge that led to the center of the lake. He then walked into the trading venue that was filled with pleasant zither music. Because Yi Chunfeng had arrived early, there weren't many people in the brightly lit trade fair. Moreover, Yi Chunfeng didn't know anyone in Aeon City. He took a wine cup from a beautiful maid and tasted the century-old pure wine while admiring the lake scenery outside the window while waiting for the private auction to begin. Why are you here? How did you sneak in?" While Yi Chunfeng was waiting in silence, a discordant voice suddenly sounded. Miss Bei, who had been taught a lesson by Yi Chunfeng a few days ago and had her face swollen from slapping, discovered him and loudly rebuked him. "You're really haunting me." Yi Chunfeng slowly turned around and looked at the charming woman who was gnashing her teeth with an ominous glint in her eyes. "Miss Bei, what's the matter?" Hearing the charming woman's angry roar, several Wei clan guards hurried over and politely asked, "Get this person out of here." Although the charming woman was somewhat afraid of Yi Chunfeng, when she thought of the humiliation he had brought her and her relationship with the Wei clan, she was prepared to use the Wei clan's strength to deal with Yi Chunfeng. This, because Yi Chunfeng had only shown his face once in the Wei clan, not many people had seen him before. However, for Yi Chunfeng to be able to enter this place, it was clear that his identity was not simple. This put the Wei clan guards in a difficult position. This person's background is unknown. I suspect that he snuck in, the charming woman persistently said. It seems that the warning I gave you last time wasn't enough. Yi Chunfeng's eyes flashed with a cold light as he looked at the charming woman who was constantly provoking him. What do you want? I'm warning you, this is not a place for you to behave atrociously. Seeing Yi Chunfeng's sharp eyes, the charming woman's heart inexplicably trembled. She braced herself and shouted loudly. Her shouting attracted a lot of people, including the Wei clan's supervisor in charge of this private trade fair. "Miss Bei, what's wrong with you?" A man wearing a white martial arts suit, with slightly white hair and a clear scar at the corner of his left eye, looked at the charming woman who had turned pale and asked politely. "Supervisor Jean, you came at the right time. This person is an extremely vicious person. I suspect that he has snuck in with evil intentions. Please drive him out and protect everyone's safety." When the charming woman saw the supervisor of the Wei clan appear, her uneasy heart calmed down a little. She pointed at Yi Chunfeng and loudly reprimanded. "Miss Bei, don't be anxious. I'll go check his invitation now. If there's really something wrong with him, we'll naturally give you an explanation." Thinking of the relationship between the charming woman and the Wei clan, Supervisor Jean did not dare to offend her and said politely, "Sir, I wonder if you have an invitation from my Wei clan?" Looking at Yi Chunfeng's unfamiliar face, Supervisor Jean asked softly, "Do you think I can come in without an invitation?" Yi Chunfeng said indifferently, "Then can you take out the invitation and let me check it?" Hearing Yi Chunfeng's cold tone, Supervisor Jean frowned slightly and said softly, "If I don't want to take it out, are you going to drive me away?" Yi Chunfeng's eyes flashed with cold light. He was very dissatisfied with the way the Wei clan handled things. "Supervisor Jean, you see, he doesn't have an invitation at all. I suspect that he's a thief who snuck in to steal things." Seeing that Yi Chunfeng was unwilling to take out the invitation, the charming woman was overjoyed and struck while the iron was hot. "Thief!" The entire auction fell into clamorous noise when they heard the charming woman's shout, and many people were drawn over. Numerous pairs of questioning gazes shot towards Yi Chunfeng in unison. "If you're unable to produce an invitation, then we can only take you down." Supervisor Jean spoke with an unsightly expression. "With just the two of you?" Yi Chunfeng grunted coldly, and he spoke with disdain as he gazed at Supervisor Jean, who was only a 2-star Dowlord. "How audacious! You actually dare to look down upon my Wei clan? It seems to me that you're tired of living." Supervisor Jean hadn't expected that Yi Chunfeng would be so arrogant and look down upon him in public. He was instantly infuriated, and he intended to order his subordinates to take Yi Chunfeng down. "What's going on?" Right when the atmosphere was slightly tense and chaotic, an icy cold voice resounded. A man who wore a gorgeous robe and had an extraordinary bearing walked over slowly while accompanied by 2 subordinates. Chapter 1790. "Hung-Yi, you came at the right time. This person is a thief. After I exposed his identity, not only did he not repent, he even threatened me. You must help me." The charming woman hugged Wei Hung-Yi's arm tightly, squeezing her soft breasts as she cried loudly, "What? There's such a thing?" Wei Hung-Yi was the son of the second head of the Wei clan, Wei Penghong. His status in the Wei clan was not lower than Wei Xinyue's. He was a complete hedonistic son. After learning that his woman was bullied, he flew into a rage. The way he looked at Yi Chunfeng turned cold. How dare you come to my Wei clan's private auction and make trouble? I think you're tired of living. Wei Hengyi exposed the soft waist of the charming woman and glared at Yi Chunfeng. He scolded, "What are you all standing there for? Break his legs. Are you sure you want to deal with me?" Although Yi Chunfeng needed the help of the Wei clan, it did not mean that he would tolerate them. Looking at the murderous Wei Hengyi, Yi Chunfeng said coldly, "What? You dare to harm me? Do you know who I am?" Wei Hengyi was even more annoyed when he met Yi Chunfeng's cold eyes. "How about we make a bet? If I break your legs, will the Wei clan take revenge on me?" Looking at the experts of the Wei clan slowly approaching, Yi Chunfeng smiled and said calmly, "Damn it, you're courting death." As the second young master of the Wei clan, Wei Hengyi had never been threatened in public. A surge of anger burned in his chest. He ordered loudly, "What are you all standing there for? Break his legs. I'm going to chop him up and feed him to the fish." Crack! As soon as Wei Hengyi's voice fell, the hair-raising sound of bones breaking rang out. Immediately after, the quiet auction hall was filled with tragic wails. However, this wail did not come from Yi Chunfeng. It came from the arrogant and insufferably arrogant Wei Hengyi. His legs were broken by the terrifying aura released by Yi Chunfeng, and he knelt on the ground like a dog. Looking at Wei Hengyi, who was hugging his legs, rolling on the ground and howling in pain, everyone present was dumbfounded. He really dared to break young Master Wei's legs. Heavens, who the hell is he? He actually dares to provoke the Wei clan in public. Isn't he afraid of the Wei clan's revenge? Looking at the scene before them, everyone present was dumbfounded. They looked at Yi Chunfeng as if they were looking at a monster. They wanted to know why he was so bold as to break Wei Hengyi's legs in public, provoking the Wei family, one of Aeon's 4 great families. Just as everyone was stunned by the scene in front of them, Yi Chunfeng's hands moved like lightning. Like a pair of pliers, he grabbed the beautiful woman's neck and lifted her into the air as if he was lifting a chick. "I warned you not to provoke me again, but you didn't listen. Tell me, how should I punish you?" Yi Chunfeng's eyes shot out a sharp light that pierced into the charming woman's eyes as he spoke with a murderous intent. "How dare you? Let go of Miss Bei." The Wei clan experts who recovered from their shock were furious. They all tried to capture Yi Chunfeng. "Get lost!" A furious roar erupted from Yi Chunfeng's mouth. His voice was so loud that it caused the entire trading hall to tremble. The charming woman who bore the brunt of it was shaken to the point of bleeding from her 7 orifices. Her soul trembled and she was in great pain. Bang bang bang! Under the impact of Yi Chunfeng's powerful aura, the Wei clan's guards who were close to him were sent flying, knocking over many tables and chairs. The elegantly decorated hall was destroyed in an instant. "No, don't kill me. I beg you, don't kill me. I won't dare to provoke you again." Feeling the murderous intent in Yi Chunfeng's eyes getting stronger, the charming woman was really scared. She had a feeling that Yi Chunfeng really dared to break her neck. "Stop! What are you doing?" Just as everyone was intimidated by Yi Chunfeng's terrifying strength and the atmosphere became oppressive, an angry roar was heard. A middle-aged man who was wearing a gorgeous robe and looked somewhat similar to Wei Hengyi appeared with a few Wei clan experts. He held 2 valuable jade balls in his hand. "Uncle Wei, save me!" Seeing the second clan master of the Wei clan, Wei Penghong, who was a 5-star Tao god, appear, the charming woman who was struggling in pain immediately cried for help. Her throat was choked by Yi Chunfeng and lifted into the air. "Father, my legs were broken by this little bastard. You must avenge me." Wei Hengyi, who was rolling on the ground while holding his broken legs, cried out loudly. "Who are you? Why did you come to my Wei clan's private trading fair to cause trouble?" Wei Penghong's eyes were filled with sternness as he ordered, "Hurry up and release Xuemei. If they don't provoke me, I won't provoke them. They only have themselves to blame." Because Yi Chunfeng still needed to borrow the Wei clan's wormhole, he took a deep breath and suppressed the murderous intent in his heart. With a slight force in his right hand, he directly threw the screaming charming woman out. She smashed through the hard wall and fell directly into the ice-cold lake. How dare you commit such a crime in front of me? It seems that you don't respect my Wei clan at all. Seeing Yi Chunfeng throw the charming woman into the lake, the corner of Wei Penghong's eyes twitched violently. His expression became extremely gloomy as he spoke in a cold voice. Don't bring up the Wei clan for no reason. I'm afraid you can't represent the Wei clan. Yi Chunfeng ignored Wei Penghong's angry gaze. With his hands behind his back, he spoke with an indifferent expression. All right. Seeing that it wasn't easy for you to cultivate, I originally wanted to spare your life. But it seems that there's no need for that now. Yi Chunfeng's words opened up the scar in Wei Penghong's heart and aroused the anger in his heart. He crushed the jade ball in his hand and his hands moved like lightning. With the terrifying power of thunder, he attacked Yi Chunfeng. For a moment, the entire trading fair was filled with the deafening sound of thunder. The terrifying sound made one's mind shake. In the face of this lightning attack, Yi Chunfeng didn't dodge. He quickly took a step forward, and the power that erupted from the bottom of his feet caused the entire trading hall to tremble. With a punch, dense sonic booms rang out in the air. The power of more than 200 billion kilograms crushed the terrifying thunder like breaking rotten wood and smashed ruthlessly into Wei Penghong's penetrating arms. A power that exceeded Wei Penghong's imagination poured into his arms, causing them to tremble and his entire body to be thrown out. What? Seeing Yi Chunfeng send Wei Penghong flying with a punch, everyone present was dumbfounded. They couldn't believe that the young Yi Chunfeng actually had such terrifying strength. Wei Hengyi, who had been shouting loudly, looked as if he had seen a ghost. The cold smile on his face instantly froze. Now, do you still think you can kill me? Looking at Wei Penghong, who had been sent flying by his punch and had to take dozens of steps back to stabilize his body, his arms were numb, and his face was flushed red, Yi Chunfeng spoke with his hands behind his back. Little bastard, I'll take your life. Although Yi Chunfeng's combat strength was beyond his imagination, Wei Penghong believed that he could still kill him if he used his trump card. With an angry roar, he summoned a saber that swallowed and spat out heavenly power. The saber flowed like a tidal wave, and he was about to use all his strength to kill Yi Chunfeng. Suddenly, a low and deep voice rang out. Penghong, stop. Chapter 1791. Grandfather, you must uphold justice for me and avenge me. Not only did this little bastard break her legs, he also humiliated Shui Mei and threw her into the lake. Seeing that Wei Sherdong's legs had been crushed by Yi Chunfeng, Wei Hengyi, who was lying on the ground, immediately crawled over and loudly denounced Yi Chunfeng's crimes. Young Master Yi, what happened? Wei Xinyue didn't expect Yi Chunfeng to have a conflict with Wei Hengyi. Her brows were tightly knitted together as she looked at Yi Chunfeng, who had his hands behind his back and a calm expression. I think this Supervisor Jean can tell you what happened. Yi Chunfeng's sharp eyes met Wei Sherdong's muddy old eyes as he said indifferently. Jean Kong, what happened? Tell me the truth. Old Master Wei Sherdong's face darkened. He cast his gaze at Supervisor Jean, who had beads of sweat on his forehead and was feeling nervous, and ordered without any room for resistance. Replying to Old Family Head, just now Miss Bei suspected that this young master was a thief who secretly snuck in. When I checked the invitation, he didn't give it to me, so, Supervisor Jean didn't expect Yi Chunfeng to know Wei Xinyue. He immediately felt that something was wrong and reported in detail. In the end, he didn't know how to continue. So what? Wei Sherdong said with a gloomy expression. So they want to drive me out. Yi Chunfeng said indifferently with his hands behind his back. Jean Kong, who gave you the dog guts to drive out my honored guest? Although Wei Sherdong's understanding of Yi Chunfeng was limited, he was clear about Yi Chunfeng's methods. Moreover, Yi Chunfeng had given him and the Wei family a new lease of life. He wanted to be on good terms with Yi Chunfeng and the power behind him. However, all of this was almost ruined. This made Wei Shirtong even angrier, and he wanted to kill Jin Kong. What? He is grandfather's honored guest. Wei Heng was dumbfounded. He didn't expect Yi Chunfeng to have such a powerful background. Not only was Wei Heng dumbfounded, everyone present was dumbfounded. They finally knew why Yi Chunfeng was so arrogant and broke Wei Heng's leg in public. With the support of the Wei family's mainstay, Wei Shirtong, he really didn't need to worry about a dandy. Old master, I know I was wrong, please forgive me. Under Wei Shirtong's penetrating gaze, Supervisor Jin was terrified. His legs went soft and he knelt on the ground, begging for mercy. I'm sorry, young Master Yi. I didn't expect something like this to happen today. But don't worry, they offended you, so I'll give you an explanation. As an existence standing at the pinnacle of Aeon City, Wei Shirtong clearly knew that experts could not be humiliated. If it were him, he would also not be able to endure such humiliation and would most likely kill together. Grandfather, he broke my legs. Don't tell me you want to punish me. Wei Heng covered his legs that were broken by Yi Chunfeng and said unwillingly. That's right, father. Although I don't know his relationship with you, he caused such a ruckus here. He clearly didn't give my Wei family any face. If we let him go like this, where will my Wei family's dignity go? Wei Penghong's eyes revealed a sinister light as he glared at Yi Chunfeng. Then what do you want? Yi Chunfeng smiled and said. Lower your head and apologize. Wei Penghong said domineeringly. Apologize? Are you worthy? Yi Chunfeng's expression gradually turned cold. The sharp light in his eyes seemed to be able to penetrate Wei Penghong's body. Shut up, Penghong. If you offend young Master Yi again, don't blame me for serving you according to my family's laws. Although Wei Shirtong didn't know Yi Chunfeng's strength, Wei Shirtong felt that he wasn't simple. He didn't want the situation to worsen and shouted loudly. Father, you, take Heng Yi and get out of here. I don't want to see you today. Wei Shirtong ordered sternly. What? Don't you understand my words? If you don't get out of here, I'll serve you according to my family's laws. Okay, I'll leave. Seeing that Wei Shirtong was truly angry, Wei Penghong could only grit his teeth and swallow his anger. He ordered people to carry Wei Heng, whose legs were shattered and left in humiliation. Heavens, who is that person? Not only did he not break Wei Heng's legs, he even chased away the Wei family's father and son. That person can make the Wei family lower their heads. His identity is definitely not simple. Could it be that the Wei family has some ulterior motive for befriending him? Seeing the angry Wei Penghong and his father leave, as well as the arrogant and extraordinary Yi Chunfeng, the major powers that had arrived early were surprised. They all started to guess the identity of Yi Chunfeng. Zhonghai, inform the other families that today's private trade fair is over. Wei Shirtong ordered in a low voice. The conflict just now had made him lose interest in continuing the private trade fair. Young Master Yi, today's matter is indeed my Wei family's fault. Please don't take it to heart. Wei Shirtong lowered his posture and said apologetically. Old family head, you're too serious. Yi Chunfeng smiled slightly and said neither arrogantly nor humbly, I wonder what treasures the Wei family has prepared for this trade fair. Can you let me take a look? If possible, I'm willing to make a deal with you. Okay, young Master Yi, let's talk inside. Wei Shirtong's turbid eyes shone brightly. He nodded and led Yi Chunfeng through the chaotic hall to a luxuriously decorated inner hall with a huge crystal chandelier. My Wei family has prepared 3 treasures for this private trade fair. But before seeing the 3 treasures, can young Master Yi help me arrange a scroll of ancient characters? Wei Shirtong did not take out the 3 treasures. He wanted to test Yi Chunfeng's ability. Of course. Yi Chunfeng took a sip of spirit tea and nodded. Young master, please take a look. Wei Shirtong took out a parchment scroll. There were more than 3,000 strange and ancient characters written on it. Ancient characters! Looking at the characters on the parchment scroll, Yi Chunfeng was surprised. I wonder if young master can decipher the meaning of these ancient characters? Looking at the frowning Yi Chunfeng, Wei Shitong sighed softly in his heart. He felt that Yi Chunfeng should not be able to decipher the ancient characters. Let me try. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and closed his eyes. He controlled the God-Eater brain to quickly deduce the strange ancient characters on the parchment scroll. At this time, Wei Zhonghai walked in and glanced at Yi Chunfeng, who was holding the parchment scroll with his eyes closed. He exchanged a look with Wei Shitong and then sat down in silence. About an hour later, Yi Chunfeng opened his eyes and said, "This should be the opening of an ancient study, but the order of each line is reversed. The correct order is." Yi Chunfeng took out a pen from the universe mirror and wrote down a serial number before each line of ancient characters. He handed it to Wei Zhonghai, whose expression changed slightly. "Young Master Yi, you can really decipher these ancient characters." Wei Shitong, Wei Zhonghai, and the others widened their eyes and stared blankly at Yi Chunfeng. There was a trace of joy and hope between their brows. "Pretty much." Yi Chunfeng nodded. "Then I'll have to trouble young Master Yi to take a look at this ancient scroll and see if you can help us decipher the cultivation chant." As he spoke, Wei Shitong took out an ancient tree that seemed to have withered long ago, a tortoiseshell the size of a palm with over 100 ancient characters engraved on its surface, a pitch-black crystal, and a somewhat tattered ancient book sealed with a powerful restriction. "Okay, I'll try my best." Yi Chunfeng controlled the God-Eater brain to sense the three treasures. His heart trembled as he suppressed his excitement and asked, "Then I'll leave everything to young Master Yi. Regardless of success or failure, young master can take away one treasure. If you can decipher it completely, these three treasures are all yours." Wei Shitong promised. "Okay." Chapter 1792. "Father, we have to take revenge for this. I must break that little bastard's limbs and make him beg for death." Wei Heng gnashed his teeth and said after his legs were broken by Yi Chunfeng. He wished he could eat Yi Chunfeng's flesh and drink his blood. "There's no hurry. Let me investigate that little bastard's background first and see who he is." Wei Penghong calmed down a lot. His eyes flashed with a fierce light as he spoke. The news of Wei Heng's legs being broken and Wei Penghong being driven out of the trading hall spread like the wind throughout Aeon City. Many people knew about Yi Chunfeng. Among them, the Bei family's reaction was the strongest. They immediately found Wei Penghong and inquired about Yi Chunfeng's identity, wanting to retaliate against him. However, Yi Chunfeng had just arrived in Aeon City, and no one knew his origins. For a time, no one dared to take the lead. However, the investigation of him was slowly unfolding. The night quickly passed. When the first rays of the morning sun shined on the surface of the lake, rippling with dazzling light, Yi Chunfeng, who had been controlling the God-Eater brain for the entire night, let out a breath of turbid air and woke up from his deduction. "How was it, young Master Yi? How much did you translate?" This ancient book was extremely important to the Wei family. If Yi Chunfeng could translate it, the Wei family might be able to use this ancient book to intimidate everyone and survive this crisis. The ancient characters in this ancient book have existed for too long. I spent an entire night and only managed to translate 4 pages. As Yi Chunfeng spoke, he took out a pen and wrote down the ancient characters he had translated on the ancient scroll that the Wei family had prepared. Yes, the translation of these ancient characters is correct. Wei Shitong quickly skimmed through the ancient characters on the ancient scroll. His eyes suddenly lit up. Through comparison, he determined that Yi Chunfeng had translated the ancient characters without any problems. He couldn't help but look at Yi Chunfeng in a higher light, feeling that he was extraordinary. "Young Master Yi, how long will it take to translate this ancient book?" Wei Shitong asked expectantly. About a month or so." Yi Chunfeng pondered for a moment and said, "Young Master Yi, these ancient books are very important to my Wei clan. Can you stay in my Wei clan while you are translating them?" Wei Shirtong promised, "Regardless of success or failure, I will give you these 3 ancient items." Alright. After translating 4 pages, Yi Chunfeng was already deeply attracted by this ancient book. He had a feeling that this ancient book might very well record the most profound supreme divine ability of the Void God realm. If he could comprehend it, it would greatly increase his battle prowess and foundation. "Many thanks, young Master Yi. I am definitely going to befriend you." Hearing Yi Chunfeng's agreement, Wei Shirtong was overjoyed. He didn't stay for long and immediately left the island and returned to the Wei residence. "Old Patriarch Wei, I see that your body is still very weak. I'll give you this heavenly purple jade thunder fruit. If you eat this fruit, it should be able to speed up your recovery." Yi Chunfeng didn't want to take advantage of the Wei clan too much, so he took out the heavenly purple jade thunder fruit he obtained from the Great Void Tomb and gave it to Wei Shirtong. Heavenly purple jade thunder fruit. When Wei Shirtong saw Yi Chunfeng hand over the heaven-piercing fruit, which was dark purple in color and contained strong holy lightning energy, his eyes widened in shock. "Young Master Yi, this is too precious." Wei Shirtong had heard of the heavenly purple jade thunder fruit's fame and knew its value. Moreover, the Wei clan mainly cultivated the Tao of lightning. It could be said that this heavenly purple jade thunder fruit's value to the Wei clan surpassed a low-grade ancestral pellet. "Old Wei is too polite." Yi Chunfeng smiled and said, "Alright, Old Wei, I'm going into seclusion to translate. Don't let anyone disturb me while I'm translating." "Don't worry, young Master Yi. This old man promises you that in my Wei clan, no one will disturb you." Wei Shirtong patted his chest and promised. He was determined to be on good terms with Yi Chunfeng. After Wei Shirtong and the others left, Yi Chunfeng laid down a restriction in his room. With a thought, he entered the universe realm and translated the ancient characters in the 30-fold flow of time. The ancient characters in the Wei clan's ancient books were profound and cryptic. They were extremely difficult to comprehend, but the God-Eater brain refined by Tai was all-encompassing. Under the God-Eater brain's deduction and comprehension, Yi Chunfeng translated one ancient character after another. 30 days in the outside world, 900 days in the 5th level of the universe realm. In these 3 years, Yi Chunfeng not only translated the entire ancient book, but also used the remaining time to completely memorize it. The 3000 Transforming God Fist. This ancient book is just as I guessed. It's a supreme divine ability. After spending more than 2 years to engrave the 3000 Transforming God Fist into the God-Eater brain, Yi Chunfeng was deeply shocked by this powerful divine ability. Powerful, this supreme divine ability is too powerful. The 3000 Transforming God Fist, one fist turned into 1,000 intent. When the fist blasted out, it was as if 3000 gods were attacking at the same time. The terrifying power of 3000 fists was enough to destroy the world and destroy everything. I didn't expect to have such a harvest when I just came to the Void God world. Yi Chunfeng revealed a satisfied smile. With a thought, he left the universe realm and returned to his room. He broke the restriction and walked out. "Young Master Yi, did you translate the ancient book?" Just as Yi Chunfeng walked out of the room, Wei Shirtong and the others who were patiently waiting felt it. They immediately rushed over and asked expectantly, "Fortunately, I didn't disappoint you. I translated the ancient book. Old Wei, please take a look." Yi Chunfeng handed the translated ancient book to the excited Wei Shirtong. After receiving the ancient book, Wei Shirtong immediately released a powerful soul force into the ancient book and quickly browsed through it. Supreme divine ability. This ancient book is truly a supreme divine ability. Looking at the ancient book translated by Yi Chunfeng, Wei Shirtong fell into deep excitement. Moreover, with his eyesight, He didn't find any problem when he browsed through the cultivation chant. He bowed deeply towards Yi Chunfeng. Young Master Ye's great kindness, my Wei family is endlessly grateful. If there is anything you need in the future, my Wei family will not refuse. Old Wei is too polite. Yi Chunfeng faintly smiled and gently helped Wei Shirtong up. Young Master Yi, these are the 3 great ancient treasures that I promised you. Please accept them. Wei Shirtong took out 3 great ancient treasures and gave them to Yi Chunfeng. Alright, Old Wei, you guys slowly comprehend them. I will take my leave first. Yi Chunfeng received the 3 great treasures and prepared to leave. Young Master Yi, this old man has a presumptuous request. I hope young master can agree. Wei Shirtong called out to Yi Chunfeng. Old Wei, please say it. Yi Chunfeng said. This ancient book is very important to my Wei family. I hope young master can keep this a secret for my Wei family. Wei Shirtong requested. Don't worry, Old Wei, I will not tell anyone. Yi Chunfeng nodded and guaranteed. Many thanks, young Master Yi. Wei Shirtong felt relieved after receiving Yi Chunfeng's guarantee. You help me send young Master Yi off. Yes, grandfather. Wei Xinyue, who was dressed in a long white dress and had an elegant temperament, nodded and personally sent Yi Chunfeng out of the Wei clan residence. Young Master Yi, grandfather has already warned second uncle's family. They won't cause trouble for you in the future. When Wei Xinyue saw Yi Chunfeng off, she looked at his chiseled face and said softly, I hope so. Yi Chunfeng smiled and said indifferently, All right, Xinyue, send me off here, I am leaving. Chapter 1793. Damned girl, where do you think you're going? As Yi Chunfeng walked towards his rented courtyard, an angry roar suddenly rang out from the noisy street. 6 ferocious-looking men with ferocious wolf heads tattooed on their arms rudely pushed away the pedestrians on the street and chased after a little girl who was wearing tattered clothes. Her face was dirty and her expression was flustered. Yi Chunfeng originally didn't want to meddle in other people's business, but when he saw the little girl running over in panic, his brows twitched as he sensed a trace of abnormality. He immediately sent the God-Eater brain over. What kind of constitution is this? When his powerful soul power seeped into the little girl's body, Yi Chunfeng discovered that her body was in chaos. The God-Eater brain couldn't sense her constitution, let alone her true state. This made Yi Chunfeng very surprised. Don't be afraid, come here. Yi Chunfeng called out softly as he waved his hand at the mysterious young lady who was running closer and closer to him. Hearing Yi Chunfeng's call, the panicked little girl hesitated for a moment before running to Yi Chunfeng's side and hiding behind him. She tightly grabbed onto his arm and sought protection. Damned girl, let's see where you're going to run now. The 6 fiendish men surrounded Yi Chunfeng and Yi Chunfeng. One of them reached out his hairy hand and grabbed at the little girl. Pa! The crisp sound of a slap rang out. The big man who grabbed at the mysterious little girl was sent flying by Yi Chunfeng's slap. He drew a beautiful arc in the air before falling heavily to the ground. A large amount of blood sprayed out from his mouth. Damn it, you dare to hit someone from our Black Wolf gang? You must have eaten a bear's heart or a leopard's guts. The 5 fiendish men were enraged when they saw their companion sent flying by Yi Chunfeng. They summoned their top-grade true saint artifacts and attacked Yi Chunfeng. Bang bang bang! As the 5 supreme-grade true spirit saint weapons approached, Yi Chunfeng immediately threw out a punch. A force of over 200 billion jin exploded like a meteor as it landed on the 5 supreme-grade true spirit saint weapons. Ka ka ka! A series of crisp cracking sounds rang out. Under the attack of Yi Chunfeng's fist, the 5 top-grade true saint artifacts shattered. The entire space trembled under Yi Chunfeng's fist. I'll count to 3. Whoever doesn't scram will be killed. After shattering the 5 supreme-grade true spirit saint weapons with a single punch, Yi Chunfeng's sharp eyes swept across the 5 ferocious men, whose faces had changed drastically and their hearts were trembling. He warned them coldly. Let's go. Sensing the murderous intent in Yi Qinfeng's eyes, the 5 ferocious men became timid. They did not dare to stay any longer. They brought their severely injured companions and fled in a sorry state. "All right, don't be afraid." After driving away the 6 fiendish men, Yi Qinfeng cast his eyes to the dirty little girl and asked, "What's your name? Do you have a family?" "I don't have a name, and I don't have a family." The mysterious little girl blinked her big eyes and looked at Yi Qinfeng, shaking her head. "Then are you willing to follow me?" Looking at the little girl in front of him, Yi Qinfeng suddenly felt as if she was shrouded in a fog that even he couldn't see through. Suddenly, he felt that this little girl was not simple and asked softly, "If you can give me something to eat and not let me starve, I'll follow you." The little girl said, "No problem, as long as you follow me, even if you want to eat ancestor beast meat, I'll get it for you." Yi Qinfeng smiled and said, "I don't like to eat meat, I only like to eat saint crystals. The higher the grade of saint crystals, the more I like them." The little girl shook her head and said, "You eat saint crystals?" Yi Qinfeng was slightly taken aback. This was the first time he had seen someone eat saint crystals. One had to know that saint crystals were extremely hard. The hardness of a high-rank saint crystal exceeded that of an ordinary divine artifact, and the hardness of a top-rank saint crystal was almost equivalent to that of a top-rank divine artifact. "And, big brother, can you give me some saint crystals to eat?" The little girl nodded her small head and asked. "All right." Yi Qinfeng nodded, took out a high-rank saint crystal, and handed it to the little girl. Looking at the egg-sized high-rank saint crystal in Yi Qinfeng's hand, the little girl's eyes immediately curved into crescents as she snatched the saint crystal, opened her mouth, and bit down on most of it. She can really eat saint crystals. Looking at the extremely hard high-rank saint crystal that was comparable to a low-rank divine artifact and tasted like sweet bread in the little girl's mouth, Yi Qinfeng felt more and more that this little girl was extremely unusual. There was definitely a great secret hidden in her body. "Big brother, do you have any more?" After eating the high-rank saint crystal, the little girl asked as if she still hadn't had enough. "Yes, big brother has plenty of saint crystals here. You can eat as much as you want," Yi Qinfeng said generously as he took out 5 top-rank saint crystals and handed them to the little girl. "Thank you, big brother. I'll be by your side from now on." The little girl took the top-rank saint crystals that contained even purer and tougher energy, and she ate them with relish while a happy smile appeared on her face. "I'll call you Mo from now on." Yi Qinfeng looked at the pure little girl and spoke softly. "All right." The little girl nodded and spoke obediently. She seemed to trust Yi Qinfeng very much as she followed him to the ancient courtyard. As they walked, Yi Qinfeng frowned tightly. His formidable soul force noticed that the 6 ferocious men that he'd just scared away had appeared again. Moreover, there were 4 people following them, and one of them was at the peak of the 6-star Tao Lord realm. "Leader, it was that kid who injured me and rescued that damnable little girl." The ferocious man's group stopped Yi Qinfeng and the little girl on a deserted street, and they spoke with ferocious expressions. "Who are you? Why are you meddling in our business and going against my Black Wolf gang?" A tall man who wore a black robe, had 2 multicolored wolf heads tattooed on his arms, and emanated a gloomy aura spoke in a low voice. "Fuck off if you don't want to die." Yi Qinfeng gazed at the black-robed man who was a 6-star Tao Lord as he spoke coldly. "Damn it! How audacious of you! You actually dared to insult the leader of my Black Wolf gang. Let me see if you—" He hadn't finished speaking when the ferocious man who'd insulted Yi Qinfeng had his head pierced through by Yi Qinfeng's finger, and then his soul was minced into pieces before he fell into a pool of blood and perished. "Who exactly are you?" The black-robed man's expression changed slightly when he sensed the might of Yi Qinfeng's finger, and he spoke with a solemn expression. "All of you aren't qualified to know who I am." Yi Qinfeng spoke arrogantly. "If your Black Wolf gang doesn't want to vanish from Aeon City, then fuck off as far as you can." What high-sounding sentiments! Do you know who's backing my Black Wolf gang? Even though Yi Chunfeng's strength was extraordinary, the black-robed man wasn't afraid, and he spoke angrily. Who? Yi Chunfeng smiled as he spoke. We're from the Wei clan, and the second master of the Wei clan is our master. The black-robed man spoke arrogantly. The second master of the Wei clan? Wei Penghong? Yi Chunfeng started laughing. He'd never expected that after Wei Shitong had just warned Wei Penghong and his son, their people would offend him. Exactly. Hand that damnable little girl over to us if you're sensible, otherwise, I'll make you suffer the consequences. The black-robed man spoke arrogantly. Ask Wei Penghong to come here and see if he can do anything to me. Yi Chunfeng spoke with a smile on his face. F***ck, who do you think you are? You want to see the second master of the Wei clan? Another ferocious-looking man cursed. Bang! As soon as his voice faded, Yi Chunfeng pointed his finger again and crushed his head, killing him instantly. The black-robed man didn't expect Yi Chunfeng to be so bold as to kill without a word. Beads of sweat immediately appeared on his forehead. My patience is limited. Either you ask Wei Penghong to come and save you, or you can all die for me. Yi Chunfeng's aura instantly became fierce. Blood and bones intertwined with killing intent unreservedly spread out from his body and blasted into the black-robed man's body. It made them feel as if they were facing the Grim Reaper, and their inner defenses were completely destroyed. You wait, when the second master of the Wei clan, young Master Wei comes, you'll be in for a good show. Chapter 1794. Let's go. We'll find a place to wait for Wei Heng Yi. Yi Chunfeng spat out a mouthful of true spirit sacred flame, melting the two corpses lying in a pool of blood. He then held Mo''s little hand and continued forward. Master, this person is a bit strange. Why don't we run? One of the Black Wolf gang's experts became timid when he saw Yi Chunfeng's proud back. Run! The remorseful black-robed man wanted to run away, but Yi Chunfeng's ruthless methods of killing two people in a row had deeply shocked him. He had a feeling that if he dared to run, Yi Chunfeng would most likely kill him. Sigh, now we can only place our hopes on young Master Wei. After hesitating for a while, the black-robed man gave up the idea of running away. He led his subordinates and obediently followed Yi Chunfeng to an open-air tea-house, where they waited for Wei Heng Yi and the others to arrive. Mo'', are you full? Yi Chunfeng took a sip of spirit tea and looked at Mo'', whose face was dirty but still cute, and asked softly. No. Mo'' shook her little head and said embarrassedly. Here, this universe ring is for you. There are 100,000 high-rank Saint Crystals and 1,000 top-rank Saint Crystals inside. Ask me for more when you're done. Yi Chunfeng was not stingy and gave a dark gold universe ring to Mo''. Thank you, big brother. Mo'', whose eyes were curved into small crescents, said happily. She took out a finger-sized high-rank Saint Crystal from the universe ring and threw it into her mouth like she was eating candy. She then ate it with relish. Eat Saint Crystals. The black-robed man and the others, who were sitting uneasily, saw the scene of Mo'' eating Saint Crystals and their eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Wei Heng Yi is finally here. After waiting for a while, Yi Chunfeng's powerful soul force sensed Wei Heng Yi's aura and showed a faint smile. Young Master Wei, you're finally here. Seeing Wei Heng Yi appear with two Wei clan experts, the restless black-robed man let out a long sigh of relief. He quickly stood up and walked over to greet them. Motherf ***, which blind fool wants to destroy the Black Wolf gang? Wei Heng Yi, the prodigal progenitor, cursed. It's him. The black-robed man pointed at Yi Chunfeng, who was sitting with his back to them, and said softly. Trash, a brat who's still wet behind the ears scared you like this, what's the use of raising you? Wei Heng Yi reprimanded loudly. Follow me, watch me take revenge for you. As he spoke, Wei Heng Yi walked over aggressively. Wei Heng Yi, are you sure you want to avenge them? Yi Chunfeng slowly turned around and looked at the overbearing Wei Hengyi as he said indifferently, "You, how could it be you?" Seeing Yi Chunfeng's familiar face, Wei Hengyi's arrogance disappeared and he was dumbfounded. When Yi Chunfeng broke his legs, he was so angry that he wanted to take revenge. However, a few days later, Wei Shirtong warned him and his son not to provoke Yi Chunfeng, so he had no choice but to swallow his anger. However, he didn't expect that the Black Wolf gang would be so blind as to provoke Yi Chunfeng. This put him between a rock and a hard place. "Why not me?" Yi Chunfeng smiled and said, "Wei Hengyi, I didn't expect you and your son to control an underground force. I find that you two are quite free." Hearing Yi Chunfeng's ridicule, Wei Hengyi's face turned black. However, Yi Chunfeng's strength was too terrifying. Wei Hengyi was afraid that he would break his legs again if he didn't agree, so he didn't dare to say anything. "Young Master Wei, you know him?" Seeing Yi Chunfeng ridicule Wei Hengyi in front of everyone but not daring to retort, the black-robed man and the others felt the seriousness of the situation and asked softly. Slap. A crisp sound of a slap was heard. Wei Hengyi didn't dare to behave atrociously in front of Yi Chunfeng, so he could only vent his anger on the black-robed man. "Damn it, who gave you the guts to provoke young Master Yi? Why aren't you apologizing to him?" Yes. The black-robed man didn't dare to disobey Wei Hengyi's order. He lowered his head and was about to apologize. "There's no need to apologize." Yi Chunfeng waved his hand and said, "I'll give Elder Wei face and let it go this time. If you or your people provoke me again, even the heavens won't be able to save you. Let's go." With that, Yi Chunfeng left the money for the tea and left holding Mo's little hand under Wei Hengyi's gloomy gaze. "Damn it, don't think that I can't do anything to you just because you have the old man's support. Sooner or later, I'll make you kneel on the ground like a dog and beg for mercy." Yi Chunfeng's warning echoed in Wei Hengyi's ears. He gritted his teeth and swore in his heart. Wei Penghong, Wei Hengyi, could there be a problem with these two? Thinking that only a trusted person would have the chance to plant the demonic goo on Wei Shirtong, Yi Chunfeng couldn't help but suspect Wei Penghong and his son who lived outside. However, he didn't want to meddle too much in other people's business and didn't investigate too deeply. After returning to the old courtyard, he cleaned up Mo's body and brought her to the picturesque universe realm. "Big brother, what is this place? I love it here," Mo said excitedly as she looked at the picturesque scenery in front of her. "This is my space cave abode. Mo, how about you live here from now on?" Yi Chunfeng looked at the clean and beautiful Mo and said softly, "Okay." Mo revealed an adorable smile. She was like a dancing butterfly as she happily ran around the universe realm. "Sorry, Senior, I've disturbed you." After settling Mo down, Yi Chunfeng found Shin Daoshu, who had refined the life origin spirit pearl and healed his old injuries. "Senior, I met a mysterious little girl outside. I wonder if Senior can see her origins and constitution?" "Okay, let me see." Shin Daoshu slowly opened his eyes and released a powerful soul force to lock onto Mo, peering into her body. "Artifact spirit." After peeking, Shin Daoshu said with some surprise, "Qingfeng, if I'm not wrong, the little girl you brought should be an artifact spirit." "Artifact spirit?" Yi Chunfeng frowned slightly and asked in confusion, "But if she's an artifact spirit, why can't I see it?" "Because she's not an ordinary artifact spirit. She's the artifact spirit of a void god artifact." Shin Daoshu pondered for a moment and said in a shocking manner, "An artifact spirit of a void god artifact." Yi Chunfeng sucked in a breath of cold air. Although a top-grade ancestral artifact was invincible, it wasn't the pinnacle treasure of the void god world. There was another existence that was above top-grade ancestral artifacts, and that was the legendary Void God artifact. However, there were only a few Void God artifacts in the entire Void God world, and they were all in the hands of various races. He had never heard of any void god artifacts being circulated outside. Senior, are you sure you're not wrong? If she's really an artifact spirit of a void god artifact, then isn't she too weak? Yi Chunfeng said with some doubt. My intuition can't be wrong. Only an artifact spirit of a void god artifact would have a chaotic interior. However, there should be some problems with her body right now. Shin Daoshu said without a doubt, Qingfeng, I'm really envious of your luck to actually encounter an artifact spirit of a void god artifact. Perhaps when you unravel her secret, you'll have a chance to obtain a void god artifact through her. Senior, if Mo really is an artifact spirit of a void god artifact and she appeared in Aeon City, do you think that void god artifact is near Aeon City? Yi Chunfeng made a bold guess. That's very possible. Shin Daoshu nodded. Chapter 1795. I wonder what these three ancient treasures are. After leaving the place where the divine Tao Empyrean was healing, Yi Chunfeng found a deserted area and took out the three treasures he obtained from the Wei clan. This withered tree should be an old branch of the divine tree of time. When Wei Shirtong took out the three treasures, the powerful God-Eater brain immediately sensed that this seemingly withered ancient tree was an old branch of the divine tree of time. As for the other two treasures, he wasn't sure. However, he had a feeling that these three ancient treasures of the Wei clan were extraordinary and would be very useful to him. God-Eater brain, break the seal. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and controlled the God-Eater brain to quickly deduce. He released a powerful soul force into the old branch of the divine tree of time. After his tireless efforts, he broke the seal on the old branch and penetrated into its depth. This old branch of the divine tree of time actually contains the second transformation of the laws of time. After comprehending the mysteries of time contained within the old branch of the divine tree of time, Yi Chunfeng revealed a look of pleasant surprise. The laws of time were divided into three major transformations: time acceleration, time deceleration, and time stop. Among them, time stop was the most profound. Only the heart of the divine tree of time could give birth to such mysteries. The second was the strange time deceleration. If he could comprehend the time deceleration, his attacks would become unpredictable. Ordinary people would find it difficult to dodge Yi Chunfeng's attack. What is this tortoise shell? Yi Chunfeng suppressed the excitement in his heart and cast his gaze on the tortoise shell engraved with ancient characters. Ancient characters again. Moreover, these ancient characters are even more ancient than the ones in the Wei clan's ancient books. Although there weren't many ancient characters on the tortoise shell, the God-Eater brain discovered that these ancient characters were even more ancient. It wasn't easy to comprehend the mysteries of each character. Fortunately, Yi Chunfeng had plenty of time in the 30x time flow. He eliminated all distracting thoughts and controlled the God-Eater brain to deduce the secrets of each ancient character. Why does the profound meaning of the ancient characters carved on the tortoise shell resemble the Tao of equipment manipulation that I have comprehended? Yi Chunfeng had comprehended the mysteries of the ancient characters for more than 300 days in a 30 times faster flow of time. He revealed a look of surprise as he had a feeling that the ancient characters carved on the tortoise shell were most likely the Tao of artifact manipulation. Moreover, they were even more profound than what he had comprehended earlier. With this discovery, Yi Chunfeng was wild with joy. He realized that his harvest from the Wei clan was too great. Not to mention the preciousness of the supreme ability 30 million Divine Fist, just the value of the Time Divine Tree branch alone, which was suspected to be an upgraded version of the Way of Equipment Manipulation, was immeasurable. After patiently studying for another 300 days, the God-Eater brain finally figured out the meaning of every ancient character on the tortoise shell. Just as Yi Chunfeng had guessed, the ancient characters on the tortoise shell were an upgraded version of the Way of Equipment Manipulation. Once used, it would allow the user to perfectly fuse with the artifact, allowing the user to display even greater power. After unraveling the secrets of the tortoise shell, Yi Chunfeng was not in a hurry to comprehend them. Instead, he turned his gaze to the third ancient object, a pitch-black crystal without the slightest luster. How hard! This crystal is probably even harder than a top-grade transcendent saint artifact. Yi Chunfeng picked up the black crystal and carefully studied it for a while. He discovered that the crystal was incomparably hard. Normal treasures would not be able to break it. However, Yi Chunfeng possessed a large number of ancestral artifacts. With a thought, he summoned the top-grade ancestral artifact, the Death Scythe. He poured a vast amount of golden soul force into the Death Scythe and slashed at the black crystal. Ka. Although the black crystal was tough, it could not block the Death Scythe's attack. Under the attack of the Death Scythe, a large number of cracks appeared on the surface of the crystal. A powerful bloodline energy slowly seeped out from the crystal. What bloodline is this? The smile on Yi Chunfeng's face deepened when he sensed the extremely pure and powerful bloodline within the black crystal. Ancestral God's blood, the purest ancestral God's blood. Just as Yi Chunfeng was about to study the mysterious blood in the black crystal and unravel its secrets, Shun Daoxiu, who had refined the life origin spirit bead, suddenly appeared. Rays of light shot out from his turbid eyes. "Senior, you're saying this is ancestral God's blood?" Yi Chunfeng said with some surprise. "That's right. This is the blood of a peak almighty of my God race." Shun Daoxiu nodded and said, "Qingfeng, where did you find this drop of essence blood?" "I obtained it from the Wei clan," Yi Chunfeng said truthfully. "Qingfeng, if you have the chance, help me ask the Wei clan where they obtained this black crystal. I have a feeling that the almighty of the God race who left behind this drop of essence blood is still alive. I have to save him," Shun Daoxiu said. "All right, I'll go ask the Wei clan now." Yi Chunfeng did not waste any time. He left the universe realm and went straight to the Wei clan. Knowing that Yi Chunfeng had arrived, Wei Shirtong, who had been cultivating the 30 million divine fist in seclusion, immediately came out and went to the main hall to receive Yi Chunfeng. "I'm sorry, Elder Wei. I've disturbed your cultivation." Yi Chunfeng put down the teacup in his hand and slowly stood up as he looked at Wei Shirtong, who was wearing a white martial arts suit. He was in high spirits and had completely recovered from his injuries. "It's fine." Wei Shirtong sat beside Yi Chunfeng and said, "Why have you come today, young Master Yi?" "Elder Wei, I won't beat around the bush with you. I want to know where the ancient black crystal you gave me was passed down to?" Yi Chunfeng asked. "So young Master Yi is here for that crystal?" Wei Shirtong said. "All right, young Master Yi has done my Wei clan a favor. I'll tell you the origin of that crystal. That crystal was obtained by me from the ancient God ruins 30,000 years ago," Wei Shirtong said. "Ancient God ruins? Where is that?" Yi Chunfeng continued to ask. This was the first time he had heard of the ancient God ruins. The ancient God ruins is the biggest secret of Aeon City. It is sealed in a mysterious space under Aeon City. The key to enter is controlled by the 4 major clans and the Aeon City Lord. According to the orders passed down from the ancestors, the ancient God ruins is only opened once every 100 years. Wei Shirtong hesitated for a moment but still told Yi Chunfeng the legend of the ancient God ruins in detail. Ancient God ruins. Did Mo come from there too? Hearing Wei Shirtong's story, a thought flashed through Yi Chunfeng's mind and he became interested in the ancient God ruins. "Elder Wei, I wonder who left behind the inheritance of the ancient God ruins?" Yi Chunfeng pondered for a moment and asked. "I don't know. Although the ancient God ruins is jointly managed by us, countless years have passed and no clan has been able to unlock the secret of the ancient God ruins." Wei Shirtong shook his head. "In that case, the ancient God ruins is very dangerous," Yi Chunfeng said. "It is very dangerous. Back then, the ancient clan also had a strong interest in the ancient God ruins. However, several ancestor realm experts of the ancient clan relied on their powerful strength to enter the depths of the ancient god ruins, but all of them died. Over time, the depths of the ancient god ruins became a forbidden area. After so many years, we still dare not enter. Wei Shirtong said solemnly. Elder Wei, how many years until the ancient god ruins opens again? Yi Chunfeng asked. More than 50 years. Wei Shirtong said. Chapter 1796. Young Master Yi, are you interested in the ancient divine ruins? Wei Shirtong asked, looking at Yi Chunfeng, who was deep in thought. I am indeed very interested. Yi Chunfeng nodded. Old Wei, is there any way to enter the ancient divine ruins in advance? Unless you can obtain the 5 keys, even a peak ancestor realm expert can't open the ancient divine ruins, Wei Shirtong said. All right, Old Wei, I won't disturb your cultivation, I'm leaving. Since he couldn't enter the ancient divine ruins in advance, Yi Chunfeng could only think of other methods. Just as he was about to leave, Wei Shirtong called out to him, Young Master Yi, in a few days, there will be a grave auction outside Aeon City. I wonder if you are interested? Grave auction. Yi Chunfeng raised his brows, showing a trace of interest in the grave auction. And, if you are interested in the grave auction, I will have you or accompany you. Wei Shirtong nodded. Okay, when the time comes, have Xinyue come to my residence to find me. After saying that, Yi Chunfeng left the Wei clan's old mansion and returned to the ancient courtyard. He entered the universe realm and controlled the God-Eater brain to quickly deduce. He began to understand the divine tree of time's old branch, the way of controlling artifacts, and the supreme ability, the 3,000 God-transforming fist. Days passed, and soon 3 days had passed in the outside world. Just as Yi Chunfeng was immersed in comprehending the 2 ancient treasures and cultivating the 3,000 transformation God fist, the remnant soul he left outside sensed Wei Xinyue's aura. With a thought, it left the universe realm and appeared outside. Xinyue, has the grave auction begun? Yi Chunfeng asked softly as he looked at Wei Xinyue, who was bathed in the light of dawn, looking otherworldly and natural. The grave auction will begin at noon today, let's go. Wei Xinyue nodded and led Yi Chunfeng out of Aeon City, arriving at a gloomy mass grave outside. The tomb that was about to open was located in the deepest part of the mass grave. And who is that kid? Many people were surprised to see Yi Chunfeng, who was wearing a white robe and chatting with Wei Xinyue. I've never seen him before. I wonder where this gigolo came from. He actually managed to seduce the princess of the Wei clan. I think that guy is really tired of living. He dares to hook up with the woman that Li Hongxue likes. I wonder if Li Hongxue will kill them when he comes and sees them flirting with each other. Haha, today's grave auction will be interesting. Let's go, let's hurry up and catch up. I reckon there will be a good show to watch in a while. As they spoke, many people followed behind Yi Chunfeng, hoping to watch a good show. They arrived at the deepest part of the mass grave. Such dense yin qi. The deeper he went into the mass grave, the more Yi Chunfeng felt that the yin qi in the air was getting thicker and thicker. Especially when he came to an ancient tomb that had already been excavated, he felt that the yin qi could corrode his marrow. At this moment, 3 burly men in black robes with tools in their hands were working hard to dig the grave. They slowly dug into the depths of the ancient grave. This is this aura. Yi Chunfeng controlled the God-Eater brain to rapidly deduce and penetrate into the depths of the ancient grave. As he forcefully penetrated through a powerful seal, he felt a familiar aura appear in the depths of the ancient grave, causing his eyes to light up. The blood of the ancestor god. How can this ancient grave have the aura of the ancestor god's blood? Could this be the tomb of a mighty god? After repeated probing, Yi Chunfeng determined that the familiar aura in the ancient grave was the same as that of the drop of blood of the ancestor god. This meant that this ancient grave was likely to contain the blood of the ancestor god, or the person buried here was a mighty god of the ancestor god realm. Interesting, I didn't expect to find the tomb of a mighty god. It seems that this Aeon city hides many secrets. Yi Chunfeng muttered to himself. I wonder if the legendary primeval god ruins are related to the god race. As time passed, more and more people came to participate in the grave auction. However, almost all of these people were juniors of Aeon City. None of the patriarch-level figures had appeared. I didn't expect you to come too. As Yi Chunfeng and Wei Xinyue stood to the side, chatting and patiently waiting, a feminine voice suddenly sounded out. A man wearing a black robe with several ferocious skulls embroidered on it, his long black hair draped over his shoulders, his square face, his eyes sunken into his cheeks, and a black beard around his mouth, giving off a ferocious feeling, slowly walked over with the accompaniment of 4 attendants. Looking at this black-clothed man, the smile on Wei Xinyue's face suddenly disappeared. Her eyes revealed a trace of disgust as she ignored him. Who is he? Seeing Wei Xinyue ignore him, the black-clothed man was not angry. Instead, he cast his gaze on Yi Chunfeng and spoke with ill intentions. Sir Yi, let's ignore him. Let's go over there and talk. Wei Xinyue gently pulled on Yi Chunfeng's hand and was about to walk away. Seeing Wei Xinyue take the initiative to pull on Yi Chunfeng's hand, the black-clothed man's face sank. His eyes revealed a sinister look. As the top playboy of Aeon City, he would never allow the woman he fancied to have intimate relations with other men. Xinyue, I don't care who he is. You are the woman I fancied. No one else is allowed to touch you. If anyone dares to touch you, I will break their neck. The black-clothed man said domineeringly. Li Hongxiu, don't ruin my reputation. I have nothing to do with you. Who I like and who I like to be with is none of your business. Wei Xinyue's face sank as she said angrily. Haha, none of my business. Li Hongxiu, the eldest son of the Li family, one of the 4 major families of Aeon City, laughed and said arrogantly, Wait until I kill him. Then you will know if I can control you. Kill me? Are you sure? Although Li Hongxiu's talent was extraordinary and he had cultivated to the 5-star Demon Lord realm at such a young age, in front of Yi Chunfeng, this level of master was no different from a fly. He could kill him with a wave of his hand. Feeling Li Hongxiu's killing intent towards him, Yi Chunfeng revealed a cold smile. Oh, a tough bone. I like it. Li Hongxiu's mouth cracked open, revealing a cruel smile. His body flashed, leaving behind an afterimage in the air, as he suddenly launched an attack at Yi Chunfeng. Ai, what a pitiful boy. He actually provoked that madman Li Hongxiu. Even if he doesn't die, he will lose a layer of skin. There's nothing he can do about it. Who told him to be so close to the Wei family's princess? Doesn't he know that the Wei family's princess is Li Hongxiu's wife? Whoever dares to touch her will be his mortal enemy. Just when everyone was not optimistic about Yi Chunfeng's chances and thought that he would suffer under Li Hongxiu's evil hands, a loud sound suddenly echoed from the depths of mass grave. Yi Chunfeng's foot trampled the universe, breaking Li Hongxiu's attack and kicking him in the chest. Puff! A mouthful of blood sprayed out from Li Hongxiu's mouth. He was like a kite with its string cut as he was sent flying by Yi Chunfeng's kick. He tumbled several times in the air and heavily fell several hundred meters away, creating a large crater in the ground. Witnessing the scene of Li Hongxiu being sent flying by a single kick from Yi Chunfeng, everyone present let out cries of disbelief. Pairs of dumbfounded gazes were uniformly directed at Yi Chunfeng. Chapter 1797. Young Master. Seeing Yi Chunfeng send Li Hongxiu flying with a kick, his 4 followers were instantly enraged. 4 shocking auras burst out and locked onto Yi Chunfeng. They were about to teach him a lesson and break his limbs to avenge Li Hongxiu. Crack! Crack! The crisp sound of bones breaking could be heard. Yi Chunfeng was even faster. He burst out with a strength of more than 200 billion jin and smashed the 4 people's attacks as easily as crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. He threw a punch at them. Yi Chunfeng punched out, causing the space to tremble. Accompanied by the bone-shattering sound, the four of them were sent flying by Yi Chunfeng's punch, flying several thousand meters away. They did not manage to get up for a long time. Silence. Absolute silence. The experts who came to participate in the grave auction looked at Yi Chunfeng as if they were looking at a monster. They were deeply shocked by his strength. Could he be a divine grade expert? But he's too young. I've never seen such a young divine grade expert. Looking at Yi Chunfeng, who was like a killing god, the experts of the various forces whispered to each other. So what if he's a divine grade expert? He humiliated the Li clan like this. With the Li clan's character, they will definitely not let it go. If the Li clan is ruthless, perhaps only the Sima clan can suppress them. Sigh, he's really angry for a beauty. But it's not wise to offend the Li clan for a woman. He will probably pay for his recklessness with his life. Although Yi Chunfeng's strength was very shocking, more people were not optimistic about him. They felt that he would definitely suffer the Li clan's bloody revenge. Death was only a matter of time. Damn it, I'll kill you! As the first young master of the Li clan, Li Hongxiu had never suffered such humiliation before. With a furious roar, he summoned a ferocious skull embedded with 3 large gems, which was a lower-grade transcendent saint artifact. It whistled as it attacked Yi Chunfeng. Woo woo woo. When the skull attacked, the entire space was immediately dyed red. Terrifying ghostly qi spewed out of the skull's mouth, trying to corrode Yi Chunfeng's body. Humph! You want to hurt me with a mere lower-grade transcendent saint artifact? Yi Chunfeng coldly snorted and grabbed at the air. A terrifying Dao will gathered in his palm and turned into a gigantic hand that blotted out the sky. It carried a force of more than 200 billion pounds as it shattered the bloody mist and grabbed the skull that was emitting a ghostly cry. Kacha! A crisp cracking sound was heard. The skulls summoned by Li Hongxiu, which were lower-grade divine artifacts, were crushed into pieces by Yi Chunfeng's sky-covering giant hand. They were scattered all over the mass grave. Goo! Transform into a giant hand that covers the sky and crush the skull. What realm is this guy in? Too scary, this person's strength is too scary. I was wondering why he dared to beat up the Li clan's eldest young master in public. I didn't expect him to have such terrifying strength. Rumble! Just as everyone was once again shocked by Yi Chunfeng's terrifying strength, Yi Chunfeng gently pointed his finger. An invincible finger radiance shot out, entwined with powerful Dao will. It pierced through the air and flew toward Li Hongxiu at a speed that was dozens of times faster than the flow of time. Puff! Li Hongxiu, who couldn't dodge in time, was hit by Yi Chunfeng's finger. His chest was directly pierced through, and he was sent flying again. If it weren't for the powerful protective amulet around his neck that neutralized most of the finger radiance, Yi Chunfeng's finger sword would have pierced through his chest and crippled him. Young master, this person is too strong. He seems to be a divine-level expert. We are no match for him. Let's leave this place first. 4 severely injured experts of the Li clan quickly came to Li Hongxiu, who was severely injured and spitting blood. They helped him up and quickly left with him, who was unwilling to leave. There shouldn't be any annoying flies bothering us now, right? Yi Chunfeng looked at the backs of Li Hongxiu and the others as they left. He didn't kill them, but stood beside Wei Xinyue, whose eyes were shining, and said calmly, "Awesome, this guy is really awesome. Yeah, but I really want to know if he can live past tomorrow. It's hard to say. I feel that this guy obviously doesn't take the Li clan seriously. Maybe he's a direct disciple of a big clan who came out to gain experience. Maybe Li Hongxiu kicked an iron plate this time." Just as Yi Chunfeng drove Li Hongxiu and the others away in a domineering manner, the scorching sun hung high in the sky, and a trace of warmth appeared in the dark mass grave. "Alright, open the ancient tomb now." A middle-aged man with a slightly pale face and a short stature, who was dressed in a black martial arts suit, glanced at the unknown Yi Chunfeng from the corner of his eye and ordered loudly. Hearing the man's order, more than 10 burly men, who were already prepared, immediately threw sharp iron claws into the bottomless tomb. They grabbed an ancient coffin in the depths of the tomb that was entangled with iron chains, and slowly pulled the ancient coffin, which weighed hundreds of millions of pounds, out of the dark tomb. This aura, the blood of the ancestor god, is emitted from this ancient coffin. Looking at the ancient coffin, which weighed hundreds of millions of pounds and was completely black and sealed with a powerful restriction formation, Yi Chunfeng's eyes lit up. He had a strong interest in this ancient coffin. In addition to this mysterious ancient coffin, many other burial objects were unearthed. About an hour later, all the burial objects in the ancient tomb were placed outside. However, this ancient coffin had existed for too long, and many of the burial objects were already damaged and had lost their value. All right, let's start the grave auction now. Although many of the burial objects were damaged and useless, they would still be auctioned. This was because there were many people who had picked up scraps from the useless burial objects and obtained earth-shattering treasures. Yi Chunfeng swept his gaze over the burial objects and discovered a crystal the size of an egg wrapped in a thick layer of soil. This crystal seemed to be a protective talisman with decent defensive power. However, because it had been corroded by the Yin Qi for too long, it would need to be refined repeatedly in order to unleash the true defensive power of this protective talisman. Young Master Yi, these burial objects, do you like any of them? Wei Xinyue stood beside Yi Chunfeng and asked softly. No, these burial objects are not very valuable. Yi Chunfeng shook his head and said. His standards were extremely high. Even the amulet was not worthy of his attention. Is that so? Then I won't bid. Wei Xinyue seemed to believe in Yi Chunfeng and did not join the bidding. However, there were still many masters from great forces who showed a strong interest in these burial objects and made bid. About an hour later, the dozens of burial objects were all auctioned off. All right, now it's time for the final auction of the main coffin. Is there anyone who wants to bid for the main coffin? A thin man in black robes asked loudly. How much do you want to sell this main coffin for? Yi Chunfeng, who had been silent for a long time, finally spoke. The starting price is 100 million mid-rank Saint crystals. The man in black robes glanced at Yi Chunfeng, who had just taught Li Hongshu a lesson, and said slowly. All right, I bid 100 million mid-rank Saint crystals. Yi Chunfeng nodded and said in a rich and overbearing manner. 100 million mid-rank Saint crystals. Is this guy really a direct disciple of a great family who came out for life experience? Generally, the currency in circulation in Aeon City was only low-rank Saint crystals. Very few people were willing to take out mid-rank Saint crystals to buy things. Seeing Yi Chunfeng's generosity, many people gasped. 100 million mid-rank Saint crystals. Is there anyone who wishes to increase the price? The man in black robes did not expect Yi Chunfeng to really bid and showed a hint of joy as he asked loudly. Good, since there is no one else, I announce that this main coffin is won by this young lord. Chapter 1798. Young Master Yi, what's so special about this ancient coffin? Is it worth you spending 100 million mid-rank Saint crystals on it? Wei Xinyue asked curiously. Based on her understanding of Yi Chunfeng, she felt that Yi Chunfeng would never spend money in vain. Yi Chunfeng was willing to spend such a large sum of money to buy the main coffin, so he must have his reasons. However, she did not know that 100 million mid-rank Saint crystals was a sky-high price for her, but it was nothing for Yi Chunfeng. The value of the Saint crystals that Yi Chunfeng had given to Moer alone was more than 100 million mid-rank Saint crystals. I don't know yet. I'll find out when I go back and study it. Yi Chunfeng shook his head and said vaguely. After returning to Aeon City, Yi Chunfeng immediately separated from Wei Xinyue and returned to his ancient courtyard. He opened the ancient courtyard's barrier and entered the universe mirror, ready to open it and study it. Seal break. With a thought, Yi Chenfeng's saint-grade sword soul flew out of his soul sea and slashed open the barrier on the surface of the ancient coffin, pushing open the heavy coffin lid. Immediately, an ancient aura spread out from the ancient coffin, spreading through the universe mirror. It alarmed Shin Daoxiu, who was recuperating in the universe mirror, as well as Mo, who was lying in a sea of flowers and eating high-rank saint crystals with relish. "Mummy, there's a mummy in the ancient coffin." Looking at the mummy in the ancient coffin, which was shriveled and looked like it could be weathered at any time, Yi Chenfeng's eyes lit up. Although the mummy seemed worthless, Yi Chenfeng felt the aura of the ancestor god's blood in the mummy's body. He guessed that the mummy was most likely a god ancestor master when it was alive. "Chenfeng, where did you find this mummy?" Shin Daoxiu came to Yi Chenfeng's side and looked at the corpse in the ancient coffin, asking in surprise. "I took part in the grave auction today, and got it from the mass grave in Aeon City." Yi Chenfeng told him what had happened. "If I'm not mistaken, this person is the same as me, from the divine race. He should have been an ancestral master when he was alive." Shin Daoxiu's turbid eyes shot out rays of light as he stared at the corpse in the coffin. "As expected, this person is a mighty figure of the god race. Big brother, I think I've seen this person before." Just as Yi Chenfeng was about to tell Shin Daoxiu about the ancient god ruins, Mo, who was blinking her large eyes, suddenly spoke in a shocking voice. "Mo, have you seen him before?" Yi Chenfeng's eyes widened as he stared at Mo in shock. Even Shin Daoxiu's turbid eyes shone with light. "I don't remember clearly either. I just feel like I've seen him before. If I remember correctly, there should be a jade pendant on his neck and a sword hole at the back of his head." Mo tried her best to recall. As expected, there was a jade pendant on his neck. His cause of death should have been a sword piercing through the back of his head, heavily injuring his soul before he died. Yi Chenfeng quickly examined the corpse and found that it was just as Mo said. There was a dim jade pendant covered in cracks on his neck, and a clear sword wound at the back of his head. Mo, think carefully. Where did you see him before? Yi Chenfeng felt more and more that Mo was unusual and softly asked. "I think it was in an underground space. That space was extremely sinister and there was an extremely terrifying fiend living there. In order to kill that fiend, many people seem to have died. In the end, I don't remember." As she spoke, Mo suddenly clutched her head. Her face turned pale, and she seemed to be in extreme pain. "Mo, is that place you're talking about called the Ancient God Ruins?" Yi Chenfeng continued to ask. He had a feeling that Mo might have come from there as well. "Ancient God Ruins. I think so. I really don't remember." Mo tried her best to reply, but her mind was in a mess. She tried hard to recall but could not find a clue. "Chenfeng, what kind of place is this Ancient God Ruins?" Shin Daoxiu asked. "The Ancient God Ruins is Aeon City's biggest secret. According to the Wei clan's old patriarch, the drop of ancestor god's blood came from there. I suspect that the Ancient God Ruins is related to the God clan," Yi Chenfeng said. "If the ancestor god's blood really came from there, then there's a need to make a trip to the Ancient God Ruins," Shin Daoxiu said. "However, there are still more than 50 years before the Ancient God Ruins opens again. Unless I can gather all the keys to open the Ancient God Ruins," Yi Chenfeng said. "Why? Is it difficult to gather all the keys to open the Ancient God Ruins?" Shin Daoxiu asked. "It's not difficult. I'm prepared to find an excuse to snatch all the keys to open the Ancient God Ruins." Yi Chenfeng had too many things to do. He could not stay here for more than 50 years. He was prepared to snatch the 5 keys to open the Ancient God Ruins. If you run into any trouble, tell me. Although I have not recovered from my injuries, it's not difficult to take care of 1 or 2 5-star ancestor almighties," Shin Daoxiu said domineeringly. He had developed a strong interest in the Ancient God Ruins. "Senior, don't worry and heal your injuries. Leave everything to me. Yi Chunfeng smiled and said confidently. "Oh right, give me this God Clan ancient corpse. I'll use the God Clan's secret technique to refine it. It might be useful for us to enter the ancient God ruins." Shen Daoshu said. "All right." Yi Chunfeng nodded and handed the God Clan ancient corpse to Shen Daoshu. "Su-er, what happened to you? Who had the guts to beat you up like this?" When the severely injured Li Hongxiu was brought back to the Li clan by his 4 attendants, it caused a huge uproar in the Li clan. Li Daimeng, the current head of the Li clan and Li Hongxiu's mother, was wearing a long black dress. She had light makeup on her face and exuded a gloomy aura. She looked at her son's miserable state and her face became gloomy. "I don't know the origin of the little bastard who beat me up, but he's very close to Wei Xinyue. He might be related to the Wei clan." Thinking of the shame that Yi Chunfeng brought to him, Li Hongxiu gnashed his teeth in hatred and wanted to take revenge. "No matter who it is, if he dares to beat you up and provoke the Li clan, I'll make sure he dies without a burial ground." Li Daimeng, who had always been protective, said coldly. "Head of the Li clan, now that Wei Sherdong's injuries have suddenly healed, it's not convenient for us to have a conflict with them." Li Yifeng, the second head of the Li clan and a 5-star demon god, said cautiously. "What are you afraid of? Even if Wei Sherdong recovers to his peak strength, the Wei clan will always be inferior to the Li clan." Li Daimeng said strongly, "If the Wei clan doesn't know what's good for them and protects the boy who beat up Su, I'll make them suffer. Su-er, you stay at home and heal yourself. I'll bring people to catch that arrogant boy and let you vent your anger." Li Daimeng said domineeringly. "No, I'll go with you. I'll crush all the bones of that little bastard in front of that bitch Wei Xinyue and let them know the consequences of going against me." Li Hongxiu gnashed his teeth and said. In his mind, he had already thought of the means to torture Yi Chunfeng. "Okay, let's go." Chapter 1799. "Li family head, why are you here?" When Li Daimeng and her entourage arrived at the Wei family, they immediately alerted the Wei family head, Wei Zhonghai and Wei Penghong. "Wei Zhonghai, I don't want to make things difficult for the Wei family. If you know what's good for you, hand over the person who hurt Su-er. Otherwise, don't blame the Li family for not letting you go." Li Daimeng, who was wearing a long black dress, looked at Wei Zhonghai coldly and threatened him. "Who hurt Li Hongxiu?" Looking at Li Daimeng, who seemed to be questioning him, Wei Zhonghai frowned slightly and asked in a low voice. "Father, today at the grave auction, young Master Yi and Li Hongxiu had a small conflict and injured him." Wei Xinyue slowly walked out from the crowd and said softly. "It was young Master Yi." Wei Zhonghai was angry. If it was a Wei family disciple who had a conflict with Li Hongxiu, he could still deal with it. However, Yi Chunfeng was not a member of the Wei family. Moreover, Yi Chunfeng's origin was not simple. The Wei family wanted to deepen their relationship with him, and would never hand him over to the Li family. "Wei Zhonghai, my patience is limited. If you don't hand over young Master Yi today, don't blame me for being rude to the Wei family." Li Daimeng warned coldly. "Big brother, I already said that the boy is not a good person. I think it's better to hand him over to prevent the Wei family from being harmed." Wei Penghong persuaded. "No, young Master Yi has helped the Wei family. Whether it's right or wrong, I won't hand him over." Wei Zhonghai took a deep breath and said, "Big brother, you can't push the Wei family into the fire for an outsider. It's not a wise choice to be enemies with the Li family." Wei Penghong continued to persuade. "Don't say any more. I've made up my mind." Wei Zhonghai waved his hand and said, "Li Daimeng, young Master Yi is a distinguished guest of the Wei family. Forgive me for not handing him over to you." Distinguished guest. So, the Wei family is determined to be enemies with the Li family. A strong and cold aura emitted from Li Daimeng's body. This aura was far stronger than Wei Zhonghai and the others. It made many Wei family disciples who were not strong enough feel suffocated. "Li Daimeng, the Wei family is not a place for you to behave atrociously. Wei Zhonghai revealed his tyrannical side. He took a step forward and erupted with a heaven-shaking aura. Good, good, good. Wei Zhonghai, a loser like you dares to oppose me? Today, I want to see what qualifications you have to provoke me. Li Daimeng's eyes flashed with murderous intent, and her whole body turned into a blur as she attacked Wei Zhonghai at a speed several times faster than normal. With a palm strike, Li Daimeng's fingernails grew at an extremely fast speed, stabbing towards Wei Zhonghai's heart. Great Thunder Palm! Li Daimeng's speed was extremely fast. Wei Zhonghai's body set off a deafening roar, and the mysterious saintly diagram appeared on his body, turning into a powerful thunder palm, blocking Li Daimeng's attack. Rumble! The two of them exchanged a palm strike, and the entire space resounded with a deafening sound of thunder. A large amount of lightning danced wildly in the void like dragons and snakes. Holy art of illusion, devil! Li Daimeng's pupils shrank, and her whole body twisted in an irregular shape. The next moment, her plump body split into 3 illusory shadows, attacking Wei Zhonghai from 3 directions. Sky-breaking holy thunder spell. Facing the attack of the 3 illusory shadows, Wei Zhonghai performed the magic skills that had been passed down in the Wei family for countless years. A large amount of lightning spurted out of his body, forming a powerful thunder vortex around him, and swept up the illusory shadows of Li Daimeng. Wei Zhonghai, after so many years, your strength still hasn't improved much. Li Daimeng immediately changed her move when the illusory shadows were broken. The terrible holy art of darkness turned into a dark sword and broke the thunder vortex. With the power to destroy everything, it slashed towards Wei Zhonghai, whose face changed slightly, and forced him to summon an upper-grade transcendent divine weapon to resist with all his strength. Boom! Facing the attack of Li Daimeng's dark sword, the transcendent square seal above Wei Zhonghai's head trembled, and the terrible rebounding force was like a different tide, shaking in the void, hitting Wei Zhonghai's body, and forcing him to take a few steps back. Wei Zhonghai, you are no match for me. Just admit defeat. Li Daimeng's red lips curled up slightly, revealing a cold smile as a top-grade transcendent saint axe engraved with profound artifact inscriptions appeared in her hand, and she swung it towards Wei Zhonghai with a momentum that could split the sky. Puff puff! Although Wei Zhonghai controlled the transcendent square seal to resist the attack of the black axe, the power of the black axe was too terrifying. The power of the black axe passed through the square seal and hit Wei Zhonghai's body, and he kept spitting out blood. He almost fell to the ground and his face was pale. Father! Wei Xinyue's heart tightened when she saw that Wei Zhonghai was no match for the enemy and was continuously retreating while vomiting blood. She immediately ran over and supported his tottering body. She took out a clean handkerchief and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. Wei Penghong, who was watching by the side, showed a gloating expression. Wei Zhonghai, my patience is limited. I will ask you again, will you hand over the boy named Yi? The supreme-grade transcendent divine weapon Black Axe floated above Li Daimeng's head, like a proud dark empress, and looked at Wei Zhonghai, who was seriously injured, and said coldly, Master Yi is my Wei family's distinguished guest. I will not hand him over to you. Wei Zhonghai said firmly, Well, in this case, don't blame me for killing in your Wei family. Li Daimeng said with a murderous look. As soon as she finished speaking, the space above her suddenly twisted, and 3 dark golden fist radiances, full of terrible power, with an unparalleled sense of oppression, bombarded her. Feeling the terrible power of these 3 punches, Li Daimeng's face changed slightly, and immediately controlled the supreme-grade transcendent divine weapon Black Axe to meet the attack. Boom, boom, boom. 3 deafening explosions rang out. The Black Axe met the 3 dark golden fist radiances head-on, and was shaken and retreated, and the terrible axe radiance was also shattered by the 3 punches. Li Daimeng, my Wei family is not a place for you to behave atrociously. If you don't leave, don't blame I for not being polite to you. Hearing the noise outside, Wei Shirtong came out of seclusion, and walked over step by step in the chaotic void, and warned sternly. Wei Shirtong. Feeling the power of the 3 punches just now, Li Dai Meng frowned slightly. She felt that the 3 punches just now were extremely powerful and brought a lot of threat to her. She couldn't help but think highly of the mainstay of the Wei family, Wei Shirtong. I have no intention to be enemies with your Wei family, but I have to avenge my son. If your Wei family does not hand over the murderer, my Li family can only fight to the death with you. Li Dai Meng said rudely and unreasonably. Li Dai Meng, do you really think that my Wei family is afraid of you? Wei Shirtong snorted coldly and said, if you want to fight to the death, my Wei family will accompany you. Well, I hope that when the people of the Devil Palace come, your Wei family will still be so confident. After that, Li Dai Meng, who had some scruples, did not attack again. She suppressed the anger in her heart, and was about to leave with the masters of the Li family. Chapter 1800. Mother, it's this little bastard, he's the one who hurt me. Li Hongxiu didn't expect Yi Chunfeng to appear at the last moment. He pointed at him with a ferocious expression and shouted, there's a road to heaven but you don't want to take it, there's no door to hell but you barge in. Since you're here, I'll take your life. Li Dai Meng's eyes were filled with murderous intent. She locked onto Yi Chunfeng and was about to hit him and break his limbs. Stop, young Master Yi is my Wei family's distinguished guest. If you want to fight, I will take it. Wei Shirtong didn't expect Yi Chunfeng to appear, but he knew Yi Chunfeng's value. He was afraid of accidents and immediately stood in front of Yi Chunfeng. Wei Shirtong, do you really want the Demon Palace to destroy your Wei family? Li Dai Meng looked at Wei Shirtong, who stood in front of her, and gritted her teeth. If Wei Shirtong insisted on protecting Yi Chunfeng, it would be difficult for her to capture Yi Chunfeng. I has lived for more than 100,000 years. He's not someone you can scare with just a few words. Wei Shirtong said firmly. Fine, Wei Shirtong, just you wait, I will definitely get my revenge. Looking at Wei Shirtong's attitude, Li Dai Meng knew that she couldn't do anything to Yi Chunfeng, so she left these words and was about to leave. Just as Li Dai Meng was about to leave, Yi Chunfeng suddenly stopped them and said lightly, this matter has nothing to do with the Wei family. I was the one who hit him. If you want revenge, come at me. Young Master Yi. Wei Shirtong was anxious. Old Wei, I will remember the Wei clan's kindness. However, this matter started because of me, so let me deal with it. Yi Chunfeng interrupted Wei Shirtong's words and said calmly. Little bastard, today my Li family will make you beg for death. Although Yi Chunfeng was very strong, Li Hongxiu did not believe that he was stronger than his mother, so he said with a malevolent expression. Really? Yi Chunfeng's eyes flashed with killing intent. A red light flew out of his sea of soul and slashed towards Li Hongxiu at an extremely fast speed. Saint-level sword soul. Looking at the red sword light heading towards Li Hongxiu, Li Dai Meng's expression changed slightly. She immediately controlled the black axe to meet the attack. While she was using the black axe to block the Saint-level sword soul's attack, she was completely enraged. She saw Yi Chunfeng suddenly appear in front of Li Hongxiu, who was seriously injured like a ghost. He stretched out his right hand and grabbed Li Hongxiu's neck, lifting him into the air. Little bastard, quickly release Su. Otherwise, I'll exterminate your entire clan. Seeing that Li Hongxiu's life was in danger, Li Dai Meng was furious and warned in a gloomy voice. You can't scare me. As he spoke, Yi Chunfeng slightly exerted force in his right hand. Under Li Hongxiu's horrified gaze, he crushed his throat, exploded his head, and minced his soul, killing him on the spot. Su. Li Dai Meng only had one son, Li Hongxiu. Seeing the scene of Yi Chunfeng exploding his head, Li Dai Meng fell into madness. Her ferocious eyes turned blood red. She attacked Yi Chunfeng crazily. Wei Shirtong, Wei Zhonghai and the others were even more shocked by the scene in front of them. They didn't expect Yi Chunfeng to be so bold as to kill Li Daimeng's only son in front of everyone. Get lost! Yi Chunfeng took a step forward, and the power of more than 100 billion jin exploded. He punched out, and the space in front of him trembled violently. The terrifying fist light shook the space, and broke Li Daimeng's attack as easily as breaking rotten wood, and sent her flying with a punch. Father, what should we do now? Young Master Yi killed Li Hongxiu in front of everyone. It means that he has made a deadly enemy of the Li family. Wei Zhonghai frowned tightly and said worriedly. He felt that the situation was completely out of control. In order to avenge Li Hongxiu, Li Daimeng was very likely to go to extremes. Hey, I don't think young Master Yi is a reckless person. He dared to kill Li Hongxiu, so he doesn't put the Li family in his eyes. Let's wait and see. Wei Shitong also didn't expect the situation to develop to this point. He felt that Yi Chunfeng was a little reckless. Phantom demon divine art. Li Daimeng suppressed the raging blood in her body, and in the blink of an eye, 8 afterimages appeared, blocking all his escape routes and attacking him at the same time. When Li Daimeng's 8 shadows attacked, the black axe floating above her head also chopped down with a shocking force. She wanted to seriously injure Yi Chunfeng in one fell swoop. Infinite chaos. Li Daimeng launched her ultimate attack, but Yi Chunfeng showed a look of disdain. The towering chaotic divine wood appeared around his body, swaying gently in the air, releasing the chaotic 5 elements light, directly destroying the 8 afterimages that were close to him. The next moment, Yi Chunfeng turned his hand into a sword and chopped down. The chaotic divine wood instantly turned into a shocking sword radiance, which cut through layers of space. Under Li Daimeng's horrified gaze, the black axe, which was a supreme-grade heaven-reaching holy weapon, was chopped away, and the sword was chopped towards her. Puff! A large amount of blood spurted out from Li Daimeng's mouth. Her whole body was chopped away by Yi Chunfeng's sword. She heavily hit a hard rockery, and the rockery was smashed into pieces. She fell to the ground softly. Family head. Seeing the scene in front of them, the masters of the Li family who came with Li Daimeng were stunned by Yi Chunfeng's strength. They quickly came to Li Daimeng, who was seriously injured, and helped her up with a shocking sword scar on her chest. Good little bastard, you have guts. I will definitely avenge you. Li Daimeng did not expect Yi Chunfeng's strength to be so terrifying. She was not his opponent at all, but Li Hongxiu was her only son. She had to avenge her son. She left behind a ruthless sentence and was ready to leave. Did I say you can leave? Yi Chunfeng's body flashed slightly, and blocked Li Daimeng and the others at the gate of the Wei family, and said with a murderous look, What? Do you want to kill us all? Looking at Yi Chunfeng who blocked them, Li Daimeng's face changed slightly, and she said angrily, Just a few pieces of trash, I can just kill them. Yi Chunfeng smiled coldly and said overbearingly, You! Li Daimeng was so angry that her lungs were about to explode. But when she sensed the murderous look in Yi Chunfeng's eyes, she had a feeling that Yi Chunfeng was not trying to scare her. Maybe he really dared to kill her. Surnamed Yi, you have to think clearly. Behind my Li family is the Devil Palace. If you kill us, you and the Wei family will have to wait for the revenge of the Devil Palace. Li Daimeng warned coldly, but her tone was weaker. Devil Palace, I have never heard of it. Yi Chunfeng shook his head and said, You! Li Daimeng was mad with anger. She looked at Wei Shitong who was in a dilemma and said, Old Master Wei, is your Wei family really going to be the enemy of the Devil Palace? You have to know that the master of the Devil Palace is a half-ancestor, and I am his woman. Hey, young Master Yi, can you give this old man some face and let them go? Yi Chunfeng could ignore the Devil Palace, but he did not dare to offend the Wei family. Thinking of the horror of the Devil Palace, Wei Shitong sighed helplessly in his heart. Well, I will give old Master Wei some face, you guys get lost. Chapter 1801. Young Master Yi, Today's matter is really big. Li Hongxiu is Li Daimeng's favorite. Now that you have killed him, Li Daimeng will never let this matter rest." Seeing Li Daimeng and others leave in anger, Wei Shitong sighed softly. "Don't worry, old Wei, I will take responsibility for my own actions. This matter is caused by me, I will solve it and will not implicate the Wei family." Yi Chunfeng smiled and said indifferently, "Humph, it's easy for you to say. Do you know how terrifying the Demon Palace is? If the Demon Palace wants to take revenge on my Wei family, I'm afraid my Wei family will never have a day of peace." Wei Penghong snorted coldly. "Are you accusing me?" Yi Chunfeng's pupil shrank, looked at Wei Penghong and warned coldly. "I am friends with old Wei, Wei family head and XNU, but I am not friends with you. If you offend me again, don't blame me for being ruthless." What, you don't believe me?" Yi Chunfeng sneered and said, "I dare to break Li Hongxiu's neck in front of the Li family, you tell me if I dare to break your neck or not." "Penghong, young Master Yi is not someone you can offend. Quickly apologize to young Master Yi." Wei Shitong saw Yi Chunfeng's lawlessness and was afraid that Yi Chunfeng would really kill Wei Penghong, so he gave an irresistible order. "Young Master Yi, I am just worried about the Wei family. I didn't mean to offend you, please forgive me." Thinking of the scene where Yi Chunfeng broke Li Hongxiu's neck and beat Li Daimeng, Wei Penghong calmed down and had to swallow his anger and apologize in front of everyone. "I already said that I will deal with this matter. Neither the Li clan nor the demonic palace can threaten your Wei clan," Yi Chunfeng said coldly. "Young Master Yi, although you are strong, the demon palace has two half-martial ancestors. You must not be careless when facing them," Wei Shitong reminded seriously. "Half-martial ancestors, it's not a big deal." Yi Chunfeng revealed a disdainful smile. Under the shocked gazes of Wei Shitong and the others, he turned and left. "Investigate. I want to know the background of that Yi guy." Li Daimeng had never suffered such a big loss. She secretly swore that even if she had to sacrifice everything, she would kill Yi Chunfeng to avenge Li Hongxiu. "Yes, Patriarch." Looking at Li Daimeng's blood-red eyes, the Li family's master's heart trembled. Li Daimeng, who left the Wei family in embarrassment, did not return to the Li family. Instead, she left the Aeon City and flew to the territory of the Demon Clan. She sought help from the Demon Palace at the edge of the Demon Clan. The Demon God Palace was a first-rate power of the demon race. There were two half-martial ancestor experts in the palace. Among them, the current palace master of the Demon God Palace, Missouri Ming, was Li Daimeng's lover. As for Li Hongxiu, who was killed by Yi Chunfeng, he was their son. The reason why the Li family was able to suppress the Wei family and become the second family in Aeon City was because of the Demon Divine Palace. "Fa Ming, Su is dead. You must avenge him." Li Daimeng came to the Demon Palace from afar, and immediately found the Demon King, who was in seclusion. She threw herself into his arms and cried loudly. "What, Su is dead?" Although Mo Ming did not know that Li Hongxiu had a son, Li Hongxiu's talent was not bad and he was deeply fond of him. Now that he heard the news of Li Hongxiu's death, Mo Ming was furious. "Who is so bold to even dare to kill my son? It's a boy with the surname Yi. He killed Su in front of me." Li Daimeng cried while adding oil and vinegar to her story. She provoked the anger in Mo Ming's heart little by little. "You mean the Wei family has been protecting that boy?" Hearing Li Daimeng's crying, Mo Ming's face became more and more gloomy. "Yes, if it weren't for the Wei family, my Li family would not have suffered such a big loss." Li Daimeng was not only not grateful to Wei Shitong for helping her out, but also indirectly reprimanded Wei Shitong. She wanted to borrow the Demon God Palace's hand to destroy the Wei family. "Wait, you said that Wei Shitong's injuries have not only healed, but his strength has also improved?" Mo Ming frowned and said, "Yes, I have fought with that old man Wei Shitong before. I can be 100% sure that his injuries have healed. Li Dai Meng nodded and said, "This shouldn't be, even if Wei Shirtong got rid of the demon goo. He shouldn't have healed so quickly. Could it be that there is a master behind the Wei family?" Mo Ming fell into deep thought. He was the one behind the scenes who pushed the Wei family bit by bit. Mo Ming, no matter what, Su is your son, your flesh and blood, you can't not avenge him. Looking at Mo Ming, who was in deep thought, Li Dai Meng gently shook his arm and begged bitterly. "Don't worry, I will avenge Su. I will let that little bastard slowly die in despair." Mo Ming gently hugged Li Dai Meng's soft and plump body and promised. "Mo Ming, are you free now? Let's go get revenge now." Li Dai Meng snuggled in Mo Ming's arms and whispered, "No rush, I will first investigate the Wei family and see if they have any connections with other forces." Mo Ming shook his head and said cautiously, "Don't worry, Mo Ming, every move of the Wei family is under the surveillance of my Li family. I can guarantee that the Wei family has not connected with any powerful forces," Li Dai Meng said with certainty. "No matter what, it's better to investigate." Although the demonic palace was a first-rate power in the demon race, there were too many experts in the void god realm. There were many experts who had the strength to kill the demonic palace. Just to be safe, he decided to investigate Yi Chunfeng and the Wei family first before taking revenge. "All right then. I will listen to you." Li Dai Meng nodded and had to suppress the killing intent in her heart. In order to persuade Mo Ming to take revenge as soon as possible, Li Dai Meng stayed in the demon palace. Although she had just lost her son, she didn't dare to refuse Mo Ming's request. She could only endure the grief in her heart and gently serve him, making him feel good. Immortal. About 5 days later, the informants Mo Ming sent to Aeon City returned. "Damn, that kid with the surname Yi seems to be a rogue cultivator. The Wei family has not connected with any super forces." Hearing the news, Mo Ming's eyes turned vicious. "Wei Shirtong, I have no excuse to deal with your Wei family. You asked for it this time. Let's go get dressed. We will go to Aeon City to avenge Su." Mo Ming looked at Li Dai Meng, whose skin was like a young girl's and had a layer of pink light, exuding a mature charm, and said coldly, "All right, I will skin that little bastard with my own hands to avenge Su." Li Dai Meng gritted her teeth and swore. Just as Mo Ming was counting the masters and preparing to go to Aeon City for revenge, the demon palace was suddenly attacked. The demon palace, which had been there for millions of years, collapsed and the entire demon palace was shaken. After hearing the news of the demon god palace's entrance being destroyed, the magic god palace's reputation exploded. He immediately brought the demon god palace's experts to the entrance, wanting to know who had eaten the bear's heart and leopard's gall to dare destroy the demon god palace's entrance. "It's him, it's him." Chapter 1802. Dai Meng, you know him? Looking at Li Dai Meng, who was staring at him in disbelief, Mo Ming asked with a gloomy face. "He is the one with the surname Yi. Su was killed by him." Li Dai Meng, who regained her senses, was blinded by hatred. She gritted her teeth and looked at Yi Chunfeng. She wanted to eat his flesh and drink his blood. "It's him." Mo Ming frowned and showed a surprised expression. He didn't expect Yi Chunfeng to be so daring. After killing Li Hongxiu, not only did he not escape, but he came to Emotion Palace to show off his prowess and even collapsed the Emotion Palace's gate. Could it be that the investigation was wrong? He is not a rogue cultivator, but someone with a monstrous background. "Little bastard, you came at the right time. Today, I will tear you into pieces and avenge Su. Li Dai Meng said with a murderous look. "You think I am here to die?" Yi Chunfeng smiled and said, "Sir, who are you?" Looking at the calm and collected Yi Chunfeng, Magician Ming's frown deepened. Daring to come to Emotion Palace alone, he was either a fugitive or he had something to rely on. And from Yi Chunfeng's expression, he was obviously not a fugitive. Then, He must have some unknown backing to dare to come to Emotion Palace. Who I am, you don't need to know, Yi Chenfeng said in an overbearing manner. You only need to know that from today onwards, there will be no Emotion Palace in the Void God realm. Such big words. Who do you think you are? You can control the life and death of my Emotion Palace. A one-star Emotion Palace, Almighty said angrily. Just as he finished speaking, a deep purple bolt of lightning appeared in Yi Chenfeng's palm. Yi Chenfeng struck out with his palm, and the purple bolt of lightning tore through the sky and shot towards him at an astonishing speed. Although the purple lightning was only a half-transcending heaven saint tool, with the increase of Yi Chenfeng's strength and soul power, the purple lightning's attack power also increased greatly. Rumble! A series of earth-shattering explosions rang out. Under the attack of the purple lightning, the one-star demon god that had just reprimanded Yi Chenfeng was killed. He turned into minced meat on the ground and died on the spot. Seeing Yi Chenfeng kill people without saying a word, the magic fame exploded, and a cold glint appeared in his deep eyes. Good, good, good. Brat, you have guts, daring to kill people in my demon god palace. Today, I won't forgive you. As he spoke, a palm-sized hexagonal array disc appeared in Magician Ming's hand. When he channeled his Tao will into the hexagonal array disc, the hexagonal array disc constantly expanded and merged into the void, activating the Demon God Palace's most powerful protective array. Hey, is this what your Demon God Palace is relying on? Aren't you a little too weak? Yi Chenfeng revealed a look of disdain as he looked at the palace-protecting formation formed by 108 inferior-grade transcendent saint artifacts floating above his head. In the next moment, the demon bird imperial flag appeared above Yi Chenfeng's head. It quickly shook and turned into an undying bird with a wingspan of over 100 meters, covering the space above Yi Chenfeng's head. Supreme-grade transcending heaven array flag. Feeling the terrifying aura of the demon bird imperial flag, the magic fame opened his eyes wide, revealing a look of shock. The supreme-grade transcending heaven array flag was extremely precious. The Demon God Palace had been passed down for countless years, and Yi Chenfeng could casually take out such a level of array flag. It was enough to show that he was not ordinary. However, the Demon God Palace had stood tall in the demon race for millions of years, and they also had something to rely on. Seeing Yi Chenfeng summon the Demon Bird Imperial Flag, the magic fame did not shrink back. You want to go against my Demon God Palace with a mere supreme-grade transcending heaven saint flag? You are too naive. The magic fame said coldly. 36 demon killing formation kills the enemy mercilessly. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. As soon as Mengming finished speaking, 36 demon gods flew out of the Demon God Palace. They held 36 supreme-grade transcendent saint artifact demon swords in their hands. They formed a powerful demon formation, which resonated with the huge formation diagram above them. Combination array? It is useless against me. Yi Chenfeng had his hands behind his back. His arrogant face still did not reveal a trace of panic, as if this trump card of the Demon God Palace was still not enough to enter his eyes. Kill. Following Mengming's command, the 36 demon god experts attacked at the same time. Streaks of sword light soared into the sky and formed the 36 demon-killing formation, forming a demonic sword that was several hundred feet long in midair. It was enough to split the heavens and earth, and slash towards Yi Chenfeng. As the demon sword approached, Yi Chenfeng summoned the dragon head ancestral bow, erupting with 200 billion gene of strength, and pulled the dragon head ancestral bow. Accompanied by a series of intimidating dragon roars, a golden ancestral arrow pierced through the layers of space and struck the demonic sword that was several hundred feet long. Under the gazes of many dumbfounded eyes, the demon sword of the 36 demon-killing array was shot apart by Yi Chenfeng's bow. Ancestral artifact. He actually has an ancestral artifact. Sensing the might of the dragon head ancestral bow, Magic Fame's eyes widened in disbelief. ancestral artifacts were the top treasures of the Void God world. The Demon God Palace had been passed down for millions of years without a single one, but Yi Chunfeng had casually taken one out. Moreover, looking at the dragon head ancestral bow in Yi Chunfeng's hand, Magic Fame's experienced eyes felt that the dragon head ancestral bow was not an ordinary low-grade ancestral artifact, but a mid-grade ancestral artifact. Just who is this guy? Magic Fame's gaze towards Yi Chunfeng changed. Even Li Daimeng no longer clamored. After seeing Yi Chunfeng's foundation, she felt an inexplicable sense of unease. Whoosh! After the first arrow, Yi Chunfeng forcefully pulled back the dragon head ancestral bow and shot a second arrow. The powerful golden ancestral arrow hit the 36 demons' killing array and killed an expert of the Demon Palace in an instant. Then, Yi Chunfeng seemed to have endless strength as he continuously pulled back the dragon head ancestral bow, attacking the 36 demon killing array. Every time he shot an arrow, a Demon God Palace expert would be killed. Clouds of blood rose into the air, making people shudder. Palace Master, this person has an ancestral artifact. He is not someone we can contend against. How should we deal with him? In the blink of an eye, one Demon God Palace expert after another was shot to death by Yi Chunfeng. A huge haze enveloped the Demon God Palace. The arrogant Demon God Palace experts all became obedient and had no choice but to ask the gloomy Magic Fame. Go to the ancestral land. The ancestral artifact's might was unshakable. Without any other choice, Magic Fame activated the palace-protecting Grand Array, forming tens of thousands of offensive runes that attacked Yi Chunfeng. He took a large number of Demon God Palace experts and retreated to the ancestral land, wanting to borrow the power of the ancestral land to resist Yi Chunfeng. Godless Sword. When Yi Chunfeng pulled back the dragon head ancestral bow and shot through the 36 demon killing array, he summoned the demon sealing sword. His entire body fused with the demon sealing sword, turning into a divine sword that stole the brilliance of heaven and earth. With one sword, he shattered the offensive runes that attacked him like a tidal wave and slashed at the Demon God Palace's palace-protecting Grand Array. Rumble! After receiving Yi Chunfeng's soulless attack, the entire palace-protecting formation started to tremble. Clear cracks started to spread on the surface of the formation, and the low-grade Skirich holy flags started to shatter one after another. With just one sword, Yi Chunfeng broke the Demon God Palace's palace-protecting Grand Array, greatly reducing its power. It could no longer affect him. Li Daimeng, what kind of enemy have you provoked for me? Seeing Yi Chunfeng break the palace-protecting Grand Array with one sword, Magic Fame was so frightened that his heart trembled. He roared at the pale Li Daimeng. Although Li Daimeng was his woman and he deeply liked her, at this moment, he wanted to strangle her to death. I don't know. Li Daimeng was also deeply shocked by Yi Chunfeng's terrifying strength. Even her voice trembled when she spoke. She never dreamed that Yi Chunfeng's strength was so terrifying that even the Demon God Palace was no match for him. If he had known that Yi Chunfeng was so powerful, even if he was given 100 guts, he wouldn't have dared to find trouble with Yi Chunfeng. Damn it, after I've dealt with him, I'll deal with you. Chapter 1803. Humph, do you think I can't do anything to you just because you're hiding in the ancestral land? Although the ancestral land of the Demon Palace was very powerful, far more powerful than any other ancestral land that Yi Chunfeng had seen, he was no longer the same as before. A mere ancestral land of the Demon Palace was no threat to him. Break for me! Yi Chunfeng roared. 4 saint-level Dao diagrams gushed out of his body and fused into the demon sealing sword, activating more than 800 ancestral runes in the sword. With a slash, a terrifying sword light pierced through the sky. At the same time, heaven and earth changed color as the sword light broke apart the shattered protective array. In the next moment, the immortal wings broke out of Yi Chunfeng's body. With a violent flap of the wings, endless gales were stirred up. In the chaotic void, ear-piercing sonic booms resounded as the immortal wings chased after Meng Meng and the others. Ancestral formation, open. After escaping into the ancestral formation, Meng Meng immediately activated the formation. Hundreds of strangely shaped ancestral foundation stones broke out of the black ancestral land and formed a mysterious ancestral formation in the void, enveloping the ancestral land. In the next moment, two huge snakes that were over 1,000 meters long drilled out of the demon god palace's ancestral land like two rivers. They stuck out their forked tongues and hissed at Yi Chunfeng. Ancestral vein spirits. Looking at the two river-like serpents, Yi Chunfeng's eyes lit up. With his eyesight, he could tell that these two serpents were the ancestral spirits of the demon palace's ancestral vein. Not bad, not bad. I didn't expect the demon palace's ancestral vein to turn into two ancestral spirits. If the primitive Tao embryo devours these two ancestral spirits, it might evolve into a 3-star Tao ancestor. Looking at the two ferocious ancestral vein serpents, Yi Chunfeng was overjoyed. With a thought, he summoned the primitive Tao embryo. This aura, a 2-star ancestral avatar. Sensing the aura emitted by the primitive Tao embryo, Meng Meng, who was hiding in the ancestral land, paled. Yi Chunfeng had an avatar of this level, which was enough to wipe them out. Young Master Yi, my demon palace has no intention of being your enemy. If you stop now, I am willing to hand Li Dai Meng over to you and let you do whatever you want with her. Realizing the horror of Yi Chunfeng, Magician Ming had a strong fear in his heart. He grabbed the pale Li Dai Meng and pleaded. Dharma name. Li Dai Meng did not expect that Mo Xian Ming would choose to sacrifice himself to protect the demon palace at this critical moment. Her heart was filled with desolation as she trembled. Motherf *Ker, if it weren't for you, would the demon palace be young Master Ye's enemy? Mo Xian Ming's face turned ferocious as he roared. I already said that from today onwards, there will no longer be a devil divine palace in the void god realm. Even if you hand her over to me, you won't be able to change this fact. Yi Chunfeng stood in the air and looked at the enraged Magician Ming. He revealed a domineering side as he spoke in a domineering manner. What will it take for you to let my demon palace go? At this time, an old man with snow-white hair and beard appeared. He was wearing a dark gray martial arts suit and was stepping on an ancient wheel. His strength was even more tyrannical than Magician Ming's. This old man was the mainstay of the demon palace. He was one of the two half-martial ancestor experts, the Supreme Elder Mo Kuan. He had already stepped into the ancestor realm. Give me the ancestral vein of the demon palace, and I will consider letting you go. Yi Chunfeng demanded an exorbitant price. The ancestral vein is the root of my demon palace. Forgive me for not being able to agree. Mo Kuan's eyes revealed a trace of anger as he refused directly. In that case, there is nothing to talk about. Yi Chunfeng said with high fighting spirit, from today onwards, there will no longer be a demon palace. After saying that, Yi Chunfeng burned his Hong Meng bloodline and merged with the three treasures. His strength instantly rose to a 1-star Tao ancestor. He quickly pulled the dragon head ancestral bow and shot out powerful ancestral arrows, attacking the ancestral array that shrouded the ancestral land. Boom, boom, boom. A series of deafening explosions resounded in the ancestral formation. The dark golden ancestral arrows continued to attack the ancestral formation, causing it to tremble unceasingly. The terrifying vibrations caused the entire demon divine palace to tremble. Your Excellency, please stop. Although you have the ancestral artifact, the ancestral vein of my demon palace has been nurtured for millions of years. With your strength, you can't break it. If Your Excellency is willing to stop, my demon palace is willing to become Your Excellency's best friend. Mo Kuan was full of confidence in the ancestral vein of demon palace and continued to persuade. You are not worthy. After burning his Hong Meng bloodline, Yi Chunfeng had endless Tao power. He continued to pull the dragon head ancestral bow and attacked the ancestral array with all his strength, breaking the ancestral runes little by little. Your Excellency, if you don't know what's good for you, don't blame I for being ruthless. Seeing Yi Chunfeng turning a deaf ear to his persuasion and continuing to attack with the dragon head ancestral bow, Mo Kuan's face became gloomier and gloomier as he coldly warned. You really talk a lot of nonsense. Yi Chunfeng coldly sneered. Good, good, good. Since you want to die, I will fulfill your wish. Ancestral vein spirits, kill him for me. Mo Kuan spat out 2 mouthfuls of his life essence blood and fused it with the 2 ancestral vein spirit. He ordered them to kill Yi Chunfeng. Hiss! After receiving Yi Chunfeng's order, the 2 ancestral vein spirits twisted their several thousand-meter-long bodies and broke out of the ancestral array that was violently trembling under the attack of the ancestral arrow. They opened their chilling jaws and bit towards Yi Chunfeng. Just in time. Yi Chunfeng didn't expect Mo Kuan to let the 2 ancestral vein spirits leave the ancestral array to attack him. He immediately summoned 3 ancestral artifact-level ancient array flags. Space Isolation Seal. Golden Soul power continuously fused into the 3 ancient array flags, controlling them to shake rapidly. A large number of array runes interweaved and sealed the entire space, trapping the 2 extremely ferocious ancestral vein spirit. Spirit Fish, let your primordial avatar out. Then Yi Chunfeng summoned the primordial avatar of the Spirit Fish. Together with his primordial Tao embryo, they broke into the space sealed by the 3 ancient array flags and attacked the 2 ancestral vein spirits, trying to devour them. 3 ancestral array flags. Sensing that the ancestral vein spirits had lost contact with him, the ferocious look on Mo Kuan's face froze. He couldn't believe that Yi Chunfeng alone had so many ancestral artifacts. Old ancestor, what should we do? This person is too evil. His identity is definitely not simple. Seeing that Yi Chunfeng had summoned 3 ancestral array flags and trapped the 2 ancestral vein spirits, Mo Kuan felt even more uneasy and said in a slightly panicked tone. Li Daimeng was even more frightened. She stood there in a daze, her mind blank. Although this person's means are heaven-defying, with his strength, it won't be easy for him to break the ancestral array of our demon palace. Let's wait for him to consume a large amount of Tao energy, then we can kill our way out. Maybe we can reverse the situation. Mo Kuan's eyes flashed with a fierce light as he said in a low voice. Sigh, that's the only way. Mo Kuan sighed softly. He wanted to strangle Li Daimeng who was causing trouble. Just when everyone in the demon palace had placed all their hopes on the ancestral array, a several feet long, pitch-black sickle appeared in Yi Chunfeng's hand. It was swallowing light. In the next moment, Yi Chunfeng unleashed the way of artifact manipulation. He emptied out all the golden Tao energy in his body and poured it into the death scythe, activating the strongest power of this top-grade ancestral artifact as he slashed at the powerful ancestral artifact. Kacha. The impregnable ancestral array that contained the ancestral aura was shattered by the death sickle. The terrifying remaining power slashed fiercely on the black ancestral land of the demon palace, creating a bottomless chasm in the ancestral land. Chapter 1804. This. What grade of ancestral artifact is this? Although Mo Kuan, Mo Ming, and the others had used the ancestral array to dodge the remaining power of the death scythe, seeing the ancestral array split open and the ancestral land split open, the demon divine palace experts fell into despair. Their bodies turned cold from head to toe. Mo Kuan thought that he had overestimated Yi Chunfeng, but when he saw the death scythe hovering above Yi Chunfeng's head and swallowing all light, he discovered that he had underestimated Yi Chunfeng. Yi Chunfeng's methods and background had far surpassed his imagination. That black scythe wouldn't be a high-grade or top-grade ancestral artifact, would it? Whoosh! While Mo Kuan, Mo Ming, and the others were shocked by the death-size power, Yi Chunfeng used his Grand Mist bloodline to restore his exhausted Tao force. He took a step forward and instantly appeared in the ancestral land split open by the death scythe. Old ancestor, what should we do? Mo Ming didn't expect Yi Chunfeng to be so strong. His heart was in a mess as he transmitted his voice. We have no way out. Fight with everything we have. With the ancestral vein spirit trapped and the ancestral array broken, the demon divine palace was forced into a dead end. They could only fight with everything they had. All right. Mo Ming tightly clenched his teeth. Together with Mo Kuan, they used their secret supernatural abilities and forcefully fused with the ancestral vein power of the demon divine palace, forcefully raising their strength to the one-star demon ancestor realm. Is one-star demon ancestor useful? Sensing the rapid rise in strength of Mo Ming and Mo Kuan, Yi Chunfeng's expression didn't change. He revealed a domineering aura as he attacked the two. Disciples of the demon divine palace, listen to my orders. Attack with everything you have. Whoever can injure him will be appointed as the vice palace master. The threat that Yi Chunfeng brought was too great. Mo Ming had no choice but to use all his strength to deal with him. Hearing Mo Ming's shout, the powerless demon divine palace disciples ignited their bloodlines and summoned their powerful true spirits and transcendent saint treasures to attack Yi Chunfeng. They wanted to combine their strength to kill Yi Chunfeng. Boom boom boom. Yi Chunfeng erupted with over 600 billion gene of strength to meet the onslaught of treasures head-on. His terrifying physical strength suppressed everything, constantly repelling the treasures. Ancient plate, Tao transforming lotus. Seeing the unstoppable momentum of Yi Chunfeng, the demon Kuan immediately controlled the ancient plate under its feet to expand continuously. Sharp Tao intent flowed on the plate and turned into a slowly blooming lotus flower. The sharp Tao intent intertwined and attacked Yi Chunfeng. As for the magic name, he summoned an ancient bell that was a top-grade transcendent saint artifact. He spat a mouthful of his lifeblood into the ancient bell, activating the inscriptions on the surface of the ancient bell. A deafening bell chime resounded as it attacked Yi Chunfeng. 3,000 God-transforming fist. As the two ancient treasures attacked, Yi Chunfeng deduced the 4 Tao intents to the extreme and turned into an invincible war god, intimidating this part of the world. With a punch, the 4 saint-level Tao diagrams above his head turned into a large number of fist imprints. They were like meteors that fell from the sky as they continuously attacked the two ancient treasures. Boom boom boom. An earth-shattering explosion resounded. The terrifying sound reverberated through the 9 heavens, shattering the clouds in the sky. The entire ancestral ground of the demon divine palace trembled violently from this terrifying collision, causing cracks to appear everywhere. Kacha kacha. Although Yi Chunfeng had just comprehended the 3,000 God-transforming fist and couldn't unleash the strongest attack of this supreme divine ability, the offensive power of this supreme divine ability was too terrifying. It wasn't something a mere supreme-grade transcendent saint artifact could withstand. Under the onslaught of the fist imprints, the ancient plate and ancient bell continued to crack. In the end, they couldn't withstand the 3,000 God-transforming fist and were blown away by the meteor-like fist imprint. Yi, let's perish together. When Yi Chunfeng used his supreme divine ability to forcefully break through the attacks of Mo Ming and Mo Kuan, the despairing Li Daimeng suddenly approached Yi Chunfeng. She detonated the source of her power, the saint's spirit, and used her own life to launch a fatal attack on Yi Chunfeng. Boom! The saint's spirit exploded, shattering the chaotic void. The terrifying explosive power was like a mushroom cloud that directly engulfed Yi Chunfeng, destroying his body crazily. Good chance. Seeing Yi Chunfeng being annihilated by Li Daimeng's self-detonation, Mo Ming, Mo Kuan and the others were overjoyed. They continued to fuse with their powerful ancestral veins to increase their strength. They attacked Yi Chunfeng together with the thousands of experts of the Demon Divine Palace, wanting to take advantage of this opportunity to kill him. The Void God World space was incomparably tough. Ordinary people would find it difficult to create a black hole, but under the attacks of Mo Ming and the others, a bottomless black hole appeared in the space where Yi Chunfeng was. Just when Mo Ming and the others thought that Yi Chunfeng was dead for sure, an arrogant voice emerged from the chaotic space, withstanding the earth-shattering attacks. How is this possible? How is he fine? Looking at the unscathed Yi Chunfeng, Mo Ming, Mo Kun and the others widened their eyes in disbelief. It was as if they had seen a ghost. Ancestral armor, he's wearing ancestral armor. Suddenly, Mo Ming saw a set of armor engraved with mysterious runes appearing on the surface of Yi Chunfeng's body. His psychological barrier crumbled by another 30%. When did such a terrifying monster appear in the Void God world? One person with so many ancestral artifacts. Mo Ming screamed in despair in his heart. Mirror image doppelganger. Just when Mo Ming was getting more and more terrified, Yi Chunfeng split out his mirror image doppelganger and attacked Mo Ming and the others. Supersonic speed. Following that, Yi Chunfeng poured a large amount of golden Dao energy into the undying wings, activating its strongest attack and speed. He turned into an afterimage in the air as he charged at the Demon Palace experts. Pu. Under Yi Chunfeng's extreme speed and the attacks of the mirror image doppelganger, a large number of Demon Palace experts died. Thick blood mist drifted in the chaotic space, dyeing the entire sky red. Old ancestor, this Yi is too terrifying. He's wearing ancestral armor. With our strength, we can't break through the ancestral armor and injure him. Hearing the continuous screams, Mo Ming became more and more terrified. While dodging the attacks, he transmitted a message to Mo Kun. Do we really have to use our final trump card? Although the Demon Palace's ancestral land was almost destroyed, they still had a trump card. However, that trump card could only be used 3 times. In the millions of years of history, the Demon Palace had already used it twice. There was only one chance left. However, seeing Yi Chunfeng reaping the lives of the Demon Palace experts like the autumn wind sweeping the fallen leaves, Mo Kun knew that he had no choice. Mo Ming, you are the hope of my Demon Palace. You can't die. Let me sacrifice my life to Lord Demon Ancestor. The Demon Kun bit down on his lips and made an important decision. At this moment, he seemed to have aged over 100 years. Sacrifice. The demonic kraken took a deep breath and suddenly exploded his body, revealing his old soul. Under the protection of the magic name, he used a secret technique to fuse with the thick blood energy floating in the air. He sacrificed his soul and everything to fuse into the deepest part of the broken ancestral land. In the next moment, the ancestral land that was full of cracks trembled. Waves of dark energy like an erupting volcano spread out from the cracks of the ancestral land. Instantly, the entire space was dyed black. Chapter 1805. I didn't expect the demonic palace to have such an existence. The forces of the Void God world really can't be underestimated. Feeling the dark energy gushing out from the depths of the ancestral land, Yi Chunfeng revealed a surprised expression. His powerful soul force passed through the cracks of the ancestral land and clearly felt a powerful force awakening. Lord Dark Demon Ancestor, someone wants to destroy the demonic palace. I ask Lord Dark Demon Ancestor to take action and kill the enemy to ensure the safety of my demonic palace. Feeling the dark energy sleeping in the depths of the ancestral land awakening, Ming was overjoyed. He knelt on the ground and said sincerely, "Kacha." Just as Ming's voice fell, a palm that was bigger than a millstone and wrapped in powerful demonic chi broke out of the ancestral land and directly crushed a large area of the ground. Following that, the entire ancestral land trembled even more violently. The dark demon ancestor, who was over 3 meters tall and had a body covered in black demonic light, broke out of the ground and walked out from the depths of the ground. 3-star demon ancestor. Feeling the strength of the dark demon ancestor, Yi Chunfeng couldn't help but reveal a trace of graveness. With his strength, although he could kill a 1-star ancestor, he was absolutely not the opponent of the 3-star demon ancestor. However, facing the dark demon ancestor that was enough to threaten his life, Yi Chunfeng didn't summon any helpers. He was prepared to use the dark demon ancestor to test his own strength. If he couldn't win, he would summon Long Xiaotian to kill the enemy. Back then, I promised your ancestor to ensure the safety of your demonic palace 3 times. Now is the 3rd chance. After using the last chance, I will leave this place. The dark demon ancestor's voice was as loud as thunder, shaking the eardrums of many people who weren't strong enough. Lord Dark Demon Ancestor, I ask you to kill the enemy and leave behind an ancestral artifact for my demonic palace. From Mengming's point of view, the awakening of the Dark Demon Ancestor was enough to control Yi Chunfeng's life. He knelt on the ground and pleaded. Okay. The Dark Demonic Ancestor nodded. His deep eyes shot out a light that seemed to have materialized and pierced through Yi Chunfeng. Humph. A trifling 3-star devil ancestor wants to kill me? You're too naive. Yi Chunfeng snorted coldly and summoned his mid-grade ancestral item, the Flying Immortal Sword. Gripping the Devil Sealing Sword in one hand and the Flying Immortal Sword in the other, he looked like an emperor of swords descended from the mortal world as he attacked the Devil Lord of Gloom. Another ancestral artifact. Just how many ancestral artifacts does he have? Looking at the Flying Immortal Sword in Yi Chunfeng's hand that exuded a powerful ancestral charm, Magician Ming couldn't help but feel envious of Yi Chunfeng's foundation. For a normal faction, having even one ancestral artifact was already a miracle, but Yi Chunfeng alone had 7 or 8 ancestral artifacts, and the Death Scythe was suspected to be a high or top-grade ancestral artifact. Rumble. Yi Chunfeng attacked with the twin ancestral swords. The Dark Demon Lord immediately punched at him. The frightening fist light transformed into the size of a millstone. It carried with it the profound will of the Tao of darkness and death. It blocked the 2 sword lights that Yi Chunfeng had cut down. Saint-class Sword Soul Fuse. After his attack was broken by the Dark Demon Ancestor's punch, Yi Chunfeng immediately fused his Saint-class Sword Soul into the Flying Immortal Sword, activating the ancestral artifacts carved into the sword and continuing his attack. However, the Dark Demon Ancestor had lived for countless years, and his strength was too terrifying. Yi Chunfeng's continuous attacks with the dual ancestral swords were all broken by the Dark Demon Ancestor's power. He was unable to injure the Dark Demon Ancestor's body. And in the midst of this all-out attack, Yi Chunfeng was wounded by the aftershocks of the Dark Demon Ancestor's attack, causing his blood to roil. Dark Prison, imprison. After using absolute strength to force back Yi Chunfeng, the Dark Demon Ancestor opened its mouth and spat out a vast amount of dark light. It formed a dark prison that trapped Yi Chunfeng and shrunk as it sealed his body. Yi, it doesn't matter if you have 3 heads and 6 arms. You've forced out my Demon God Palace's final trump card. You're dead for sure. The Dark Demon Ancestor revealed a ferocious expression. In his opinion, Yi Chunfeng had been sealed by the Dark Demon Ancestor and had no chance of reversing the situation. Chaos Divine Wood break. In this critical moment, the Chaos Divine Wood broke out of Yi Chunfeng's body. It flickered with chaotic elemental light and easily tore through the dark prison. It viciously lashed at the Dark Demon Ancestor, neutralizing his sure-kill attack. Chaos Divine Wood. How do you have the Chaos Divine Wood? Seeing the Chaos Divine Wood floating above Yi Chunfeng's head and flickering with chaotic elemental light, the Dark Demon Ancestor's eyes widened in surprise. The Chaos Divine Wood was the #1 Divine Wood in the universe. It reigned above the Time Divine Wood and Space Divine Wood. Moreover, the Chaos Divine Wood hadn't appeared for countless years. So, seeing Yi Chunfeng summon the Chaos Divine Wood, the Dark Demon Ancestor was deeply shocked. "Ha! I originally wanted to leave your Demon God Palace alive, but that's no longer possible," Yi Chunfeng gently sighed. In order to protect the secret of the Chaos Divine Wood, he could only unleash a massacre, washing the entire Demon God Palace in blood. Fey Bird Imperial Flag seals space. With a thought, Yi Chunfeng summoned the Fey Bird Imperial Flag. He controlled the Fey Bird Imperial Flag to constantly grow in size as it swayed and produced a gigantic array of light. It enveloped the entire Fey God Bones ancestral grounds, trapping the Fiend God Palace members inside. "It looks like after killing you, this ancestor can obtain many good things from you." Seeing the Chaos Divine Wood floating above Yi Chunfeng's head, the Dark Demon Ancestor revealed a look of greed. He felt that Yi Chunfeng was the greatest turning point in his life. If he could kill him, he might be able to borrow all the treasures on Yi Chunfeng's body to cross that difficult step and break through to the 4-star Demon Ancestor realm. Saint Core Ignition, Battle Demon Body. The Dark Demon Ancestor let out a heaven-shaking roar. He didn't hesitate to burn his Saint Core and transform into a powerful war demon physique. Unparalleled battle intent seeped out of his body, pushing his strength up bit by bit. Going all out? Unfortunately, it's useless. With that said, Yi Chunfeng controlled the Chaos Divine Wood to attack the Dark Demon Ancestor. After burning his Saint Core, the Dark Demon Ancestor's combat strength nearly touched the 4-star Demon Ancestor realm. However, in the battle back then, he had shattered his only ancestral artifact, causing his attack power to be greatly affected. Facing the Chaos Divine Wood's attack, he was momentarily helpless. And at this time, the two primitive Tao embryos joined forces to shatter an ancestral vein spirit. Devour. The two primitive Tao embryos opened all the acupoints in their body and frantically devoured the shattered ancestral vein spirit, increasing their strength. In less than 10 breaths, the spiritual fish's primitive avatar broke through to the 6-star Tao God realm. Following that, he broke through to half-ancestor, greatly increasing his combat strength. As the two primitive Tao embryos' strength increased rapidly, they joined forces to shatter the last ancestral vein spirit and frantically devoured it, increasing their strength. Sensing the destruction of the two ancestral vein spirits, Yi Chunfeng multitasked. He immediately controlled the 3 ancestral flags to fuse into the void, strengthening the space around him. He completely sealed off the escape route of the Demon God Palace's experts, trapping them in the collapsing ancestral land. Just as Yi Chunfeng controlled the Chaos Divine Wood to fight the Dark Demon Ancestor, Yi Chunfeng's primitive Tao embryo merged with 2/3 of the ancestral vein spirit and stepped into the 3-star Tao Ancestor realm. Following that, the spiritual fish's primitive Tao embryo stepped into the 1-star Tao Ancestor realm. Game over, time to beat you up. Chapter 1806. Rumble. The two embryos unleashed a punch at the same time, shattering the void and crushing the Dark Demon Ancestor's body. The punch sent him flying and his chest caved in. Large amounts of black blood flowed out of his mouth. Dark Demon Ancestor, do you still think you can kill me now? Yi Chunfeng was very satisfied with the two embryos' battle prowess. With their help, he could kill the Dark Demon Ancestor even without Long Xiaoyan's help. Bloodline Ignition. The Dark Demon Ancestor didn't expect Yi Chunfeng to be so strong. He didn't hesitate to burn his powerful bloodline power to suppress his injuries and continued attacking Yi Chunfeng. Kill! Yi Chunfeng immediately ordered the two embryos to go all out against the Dark Demon Ancestor's attack. The two embryos punched at the Dark Demon Ancestor with enough force to shatter the void. The Dark Demon Ancestor didn't dodge. Instead, he rushed forward. Boom, boom. Under the attack of the two embryos, the Dark Demon Ancestor's body suddenly exploded. In the next moment, the Dark Demon Ancestor's body accelerated, instantly surpassing the two embryos to appear in front of Yi Chunfeng and unleash a fatal attack. 3,000 God-transforming fist. Although the dark demon ancestor's attack was strange, Yi Chunfeng didn't panic. He derived the 4 sacred Tao diagrams to the extreme and instantly unleashed close to 1,000 God-level fist lights, shattering the space in front of him and blocking the dark demon ancestor's fatal attack. Godless sword. Immediately after, Yi Chunfeng's entire body entered the attack trajectory. He turned into a sword that could destroy gods and devils. It devoured the heaven and earth and pierced towards the dark demon ancestor with unstoppable force. When the dark demon ancestor interweaved a powerful will of the Tao of darkness to block Yi Wuxian's fatal strike, the top-grade ancestral artifact, Death Scythe, appeared above his head. The scythe slashed through the void and slashed at the dark demon ancestor, whose expression changed slightly. The terrifying attack forced him back. When the dark demon ancestor was forced back by the death scythe, the two embryos seized the opportunity and attacked the back of the dark demon ancestor with the life and death plate. Ka. Under the attacks of the life and death plate, the hard body of the dark demon ancestor was constantly broken. His painful roars reverberated through the chaotic void, causing the people of the demon palace to sink into despair. How could this be? Could it be that even Lord Demon Ancestor is no match for him? Seeing the dark demon ancestor's back being shattered by the life and death plate, Magician Ming fell into a deep panic. At this time, he hated Li Dai Meng to the core. If she hadn't exploded and died, he might have killed her with his own hands. Disciples of the Demon God Palace, heed my orders. Follow me and break out of here. The dark demon ancestor was heavily injured, and the situation was out of control. Meng Ming no longer placed his hopes on the dark demon ancestor. He ordered the experts of the Demon God Palace, who were lucky enough to survive to attack the space restricted by the 4 ancient array flags, wanting to leave quickly. However, the power of the restriction formed by the 4 ancient array flags was too terrifying. No matter how hard Mo Ming and the others tried, they were still unable to tear the restriction apart. Chaos Divine Beasts, Golden Clear Dragon Bloodlion, Peacock King, come out! Mo Ming and the others who were attacking the 4 ancient array flags saw Yi Chunfeng summoning many helpers and ordering the spiritual fish's primitive Tao embryo to attack Mo Ming and the others, reaping their lives. Young Master Yi, my Demon God Palace is willing to submit to you. Please be magnanimous and spare us. Mo Ming and the others were already scared out of their wit. They couldn't resist the attacks of the Chaos Divine Beast and the Peacock King. Hearing the endless screams, Mo Ming was desperate and begging for mercy. Old bastard, it's useless even if you shout until your throat is hoarse. Eat your grandpa Chaos Fist. The Chaos Divine Beast roared, activating the strongest power in its body, and punched towards Mo Ming. When Mo Ming relied on his absolute strength to resist the Chaos Divine Beast's attack, the spiritual fish's primitive Tao embryo got close to him and punched out streams of shattering fist radiance, continuously attacking Mo Ming's body. The powerful attacks forced Mo Ming to retreat, spurting out large amounts of blood from his mouth. While the experts of the Demon God Palace were dying under the ferocious attacks of the Peacock King and Xia Wendy, Yi Chunfeng and the primitive Tao embryo worked together to further injure the dark demon ancestor. Bang! Under the attack of Yi Chunfeng's Chaos Divine Tree, the dark demon ancestor was sent flying by the 5-colored treetop of the Chaos Divine Tree. Its entire chest was badly mangled, and its huge body smashed a huge hole in the broken ancestral land. Demon descends. As its injuries worsened, the dark demon ancestor ignited its bloodline, instantly forming hundreds of ferocious demonic skulls. They let out ear-piercing screeches and attacked Yi Chunfeng. Dragon Head Ancestral Bow break. As the hundreds of ferocious demonic skulls attacked, Yi Chunfeng immediately pulled the dragon head ancestral bow and shot out powerful ancestral arrows, exploding the demonic skulls formed by the dark demon ancestors' bloodline. The indestructible primitive Tao embryo ignored the attacks of the demonic skulls. With the life and death disc in its hand, it continued to attack the dark demon ancestor, shattering its powerful body bit by bit. Despicable human, go to hell with me! The darkness demonic ancestor's injuries were becoming more and more serious. He knew that he was powerless to reverse the situation, so he didn't beg for mercy. Instead, he took on the full power attack of the life and death Tao disc and approached Yi Chunfeng without caring about anything else. Boom, boom, boom. The dark demon ancestor was a 3-star demon ancestor. Its self-destruction attack was extremely terrifying. The terrifying power of its self-destruction instantly turned the surrounding several miles of space into a black hole. It also caused the shattered ancestral chi to continuously collapse. Dead, is he dead? Covered in blood, Mage Name focused on defense. When he saw the dark demon ancestor explode its Saint Core and destroy the surrounding space, Yi Chunfeng's aura suddenly disappeared, revealing a glimmer of hope. As long as Yi Chunfeng was dead, the 4 great ancestral flags would become ownerless. Without the 4 great ancestral artifacts, he would still have a chance to escape with his life. No, why is the space still sealed? Is he not dead? Mage Name released his powerful soul force into the space seal, but he discovered that the space seal didn't show any signs of weakening. This caused his hope to fall back into a bottomless abyss. As the dark demon ancestor's self-destruction slowly weakened, the shattered space repaired itself. A proud and aloof figure appeared in front of Mage Name. How is this possible? How is he not injured? Looking at Yi Chunfeng, who was slowly descending from the sky, completely unharmed, Magician Ming was dumbfounded. Bang! Just as Mage Name's mind went blank, the primordial avatar seized the opportunity and punched his chest. The punch penetrated his body and severely injured him. At this time, Yi Chunfeng descended from the sky and pressed his right hand on Mage Name's head, using the power of the God-Eater brain to search his soul. So, the traitor of the Wei clan is you. A cold light flashed in Yi Chunfeng's eyes. He slightly exerted force with his right hand and crushed Mage Name's head, crushing his soul and killing him. With Mage Name's death, the entire Demon Divine Palace was utterly defeated. After half an incense stick's worth of time, the entire Demon Divine Palace turned into a living hell. All the disciples of Demon Divine Palace were killed by Yi Chunfeng. Chapter 1807. Father, don't be so stubborn. If our Wei family doesn't cut off our relationship with Yi Chunfeng, we will be implicated by him and suffer the bloody revenge of Demon Palace. After Yi Chunfeng disappeared, Wei Penghong and his son immediately found Wei Shitong, explained the stakes and kept persuading him. Yes, grandfather, we can't sacrifice our entire family for an outsider. Wei Hengyi said. Moreover, didn't sister say that Yi Chunfeng suddenly disappeared? If I'm not wrong, he must be afraid of Demon Palace's revenge and has already run away. No, young Master Yi is not a coward. He will never run away. Wei Xinyue shook her head and said without a doubt. Yes, young Master Yi is not an ordinary person. He dared to teach Li Dai Meng a lesson in public. He must have something to rely on. Wei Zhonghai nodded and echoed. Big brother, why are you still so stubborn and still believe in Yi Chunfeng? Wei Penghong sighed softly and said, You should know that Demon Palace is not something our Wei family can provoke. They have 2 half-martial ancestor experts. No matter how powerful Yi Chunfeng is, he can't be a match for half-martial ancestor. If Mengming takes action, he can crush him with one hand. Wei Penghong continued to persuade. Although Demon Palace is strong, if they want to kill their way into Aeon City, they need to think twice. After all, this is the territory of the ancient race, and the city lord is also a half-martial ancestor expert. They can't be allowed to act recklessly. Wei Zhonghai said in a low voice. Big brother, you underestimate Demon Palace too much. Moreover, Demon Palace may not deal with us with great fanfare, but big brother, you should know how terrifying Demon Palace is. If they hold a grudge against us, I'm afraid our Wei family will never have a day of peace. Also, Li Dai Meng is a Mengming woman. Li family's overall strength surpasses ours. With that woman's narrow-minded character, she will never let it go. I'm afraid that something like father being poisoned by demon goo for no reason will happen again. Wei Penghong continued to instigate. Penghong's words are not without reason, but Yi Chunfeng is not simple. Handing him over to Demon Palace and offending the power behind him is not wise. After calming down, Wei Shitong also thought of the terrible consequences of this matter and sighed deeply. Although Wei Shitong thought highly of Yi Chunfeng's sudden disappearance was like a bucket of cold water poured over Wei Shitong's heart. Thinking of the thousands of people in the Wei clan, Wei Shitong felt that he really shouldn't have placed all his bets on Yi Chunfeng. Father, actually, this matter isn't difficult. We just need to go to the Li family and ask for punishment. We need to show our sincerity to the Li family and the Demon God Palace and obtain their forgiveness. Then, we'll throw the hot medicine to them. Wei Penghong revealed a sly smile. It's not like you don't know Li Daiming's temper. She lost so much face in our Wei family and her only son was killed. It's not easy to appease her anger. Wei Shitong sighed softly. He also felt that Yi Chunfeng was a little reckless. What if our Wei clan is willing to give half of our property to the Li family? Wei Penghong's eyes revealed a trace of ruthlessness. That's impossible. If our Wei clan gives half of our property to the Li family, it's equivalent to becoming a branch of the Li family. If our ancestors know about this, we'll be the sinners of the Wei clan. Wei Zhonghai's face changed and he retorted loudly. Big brother, now it's the moment of life and death for our Wei clan. Why do you still care about some worldly possessions? Wei Penghong said, if Li Dai Meng is really ruthless and asks the Demon God Palace to do anything to our Wei clan will be in danger of being exterminated. But, alright, all of you shut up. Wei Shitong's face darkened and he said majestically, it's impossible to give half of our property to the Li family. If the Li family is willing to ease the relationship, our Wei clan can give them some compensation. In fact, the key to this matter is Yi. As long as we find him and reveal his whereabouts to the Li family, everything else will be easy. Wei Penghong kept calculating in his heart how to use this matter to put pressure on Wei Shitong and slowly take control of the Wei clan. Xinyue, do you know where young Master Yi went? Wei Shitong sighed softly and looked at Wei Xinyue, who lowered her head thoughtfully and asked in a low voice. I don't know. I went to young Master Ye's residence, but he wasn't there. I asked some people, but no one knows where he went. Wei Xinyue shook her head. Did he really run away because he was afraid of the Demon God Palace? Wei Shitong felt the seriousness of the matter, and he was somewhat regretful and annoyed. If Yi Chunfeng left, it would be tantamount to pushing the Wei clan into a hotbed. I think Yi Chunfeng didn't run far. Maybe he's still hiding somewhere in Aeon City. If we search, we should be able to find him, Wei Penghong suggested. Okay. Facing the huge Demon God Palace, Wei Shitong had to make the final choice. You're looking for me? Just as Wei Shitong made the decision, a low voice sounded in the Wei clan's old house. Yi Chunfeng, who had disappeared for 2 days, appeared in the Wei clan's old house. Young Master Yi. Seeing Yi Chunfeng suddenly appear, Wei Shitong was stunned for a moment, but Wei Xinyue showed a look of pleasant surprise. Yi Chunfeng, you still have the face to come? Do you know how much pressure and trouble your reckless actions have brought to my Wei clan? Wei Penghong was afraid that Wei Shitong, who had just made a decision, would change his mind, so he immediately stood up and shouted. Is the trouble you're talking about the Demon God Palace? Yi Chunfeng crossed his hands behind his back and looked at Wei Shitong, whose eyes flashed as he made a fierce mental struggle. Yes, the terror of the Demon God Palace is not something you can imagine. Li Daimeng is the woman of the Demon God Palace Master, and Li Hongxiu is very likely to be their illegitimate child. You killed Li Hongxiu in public and humiliated Li Daimeng. The Demon God Palace will never let this go, Wei Penghong said loudly. Old Wei, it seems that you have made a choice between me and the Demon God Palace. Yi Qinfeng's lips slightly curved, revealing a contemptuous smile. Sigh, young Master Yi, you are a divine dragon in the sky. You may not be afraid of the Demon God Palace, but my Wei clan has no choice but to be afraid, Wei Shirtong said with a soft sigh. Old Wei, I am very disappointed in your choice, Yi Chunfeng said indifferently, his voice gradually turning cold. All right, I will help you resolve your Wei clan's crisis, but from now on, your Wei clan has nothing to do with me, Yi Chunfeng said coldly. You'll help us resolve it? How will you resolve it? Don't tell me you want to go against the Demon God Palace? In Wei Penghong's view, the Demon God Palace had 2 half-ancestors overseeing it, and was almost invincible within a radius of several million li. The young Yi Chunfeng was definitely not their opponent. The Demon God Palace no longer exists in the Void God world, Yi Chunfeng said indifferently, revealing an aura of disdain for the world. What,